Hello. So, good afternoon, everyone. Now we are present in day three, and the first technical session is about to begin. You have already seen the schedule, and you know that in the first technical session today on day three, on the 1 week FDP, we have a very eminent speaker with us, the director of NIT Sikkim, Professor Mahesh Chandra Govil. And I have a privilege to introduce Sir to everybody. Professor Mahesh Chandra Govil joined MNIT Jaipur as a lecturer in September 1986 and professor since July 2005. He has more than 34 years of teaching, research, and administrative experience. He has served as a head of department of computer science and engineering and information technology at MNIT Jaipur for more than 9 years in four different terms. He was selected and was given the responsibility of principal of Government Women Engineering College, Rajasthan, and was the founder principal of Government Banswara Engineering College. He held the position of Dean, Faculty of MCARTU Kota, Director, Center of E-Governance, Jaipur, and State Project Coordinator, SFFU Cell, Government of Rajasthan, in TAKIP 2 for 3 years. Professor Govil has also held the responsibility of director on the board of Rajasthan Knowledge Corporation Limited and served as the coordinator of IIIT Kota in its inception and formative years. Dr. Govil has completed many externally funded consultancy and research projects. His research area includes real-time systems, parallel and distributed systems, cloud computing, fault tolerance, and mobile ad hoc networks. Dr. Govil was conferred with the Star Icon Award 2016 for the contribution in software engineering. He was also awarded with the Certificate of Honor by United Engineers by Council of Rajasthan. Dr. Govil was entrusted with the responsibility of Director of National Institute of Technology, Sikkim, by Ministry of Education in the year 2017, and he is continuing on the post. Today, Dr. Govil is going to talk to us on open education practices and open pedagogy. Over to you, sir.
Good afternoon. Hello. Hello. Good afternoon. Am I audible?
Yes,
Yes,
you are
sir.
audible. Good afternoon, sir.
Okay, fine. So we have another session. Yesterday you had a very good session from Dr. Rena. I think you might have enjoyed, right? And he said the communication is one of the essential requirement for teachers to deliver in class. And I think anything else that is true. And apart from this, we have so many facets of this pedagogy, and we have to look at each and every, I think, the aspect of this, because for a teacher, it is necessary to know, right? What are the various tools, what are the various practices which are available and can be used for the effective teaching, right? So finally, the pedagogy, when we are interested as a teacher, is basically the way of making your teaching effective. And of course, the learning is the final objective. So our objective is always our students should understand and learn whatever we wish or whatever we teach in our classes. And always we want that they should appreciate our teaching. So that's of course in somewhere the performance metrics which every one of us right willing to have, and therefore it is necessary, and therefore I thought let us discuss little bit about what are the various practices which we should utilize in this modern technological world, because so much of is available on the fingertip of the each and every one of us who are in the this education paradigm. And sometimes we also say the students are right having uh, the contents available online, and therefore we have to be little more careful to practice right? The open resources as well as the way, and have to advise them what to do, what not to do. So with this open remark, I'll start. Right. Okay. So open pedagogy and open education resources, what we mean. So open refers to the education resources which are normally available online and the public domain. So that's we wish. Pedagogy, we have already have discussed so much what we mean by the pedagogy. So I don't think we need to redefine the pedagogy. But when it comes to the open resources or the practices to use those open resources, right, we might have certain tips which we can share and can use to make it more effective. So when you use open pedagogy in a class, you are invite your students to be the part of the teaching process, participate in the cooperative cooperation of knowledge. That's true, because sometimes if it is a one-time, a one-side delivery, then both you and as well as the student does not have a some sort of a feeling of satisfaction. So that's always there, and I think the same was emphasized by the Dr. Rana yesterday. It should be an interactive and more involved class. So we have here a national mission on education through ICT has been announced in 2008, and realizing that how they can really improve the teaching learning process and what their role can be in the time to come. And depending upon that, we do have a other many organizations or the societies, right? One of them is National Knowledge Commission, then UGC is there, then NESCOM is there. We used to talk about the NESCOM, right? And they have some sort of a advisory issued by them, or they have some policies being designed, right? They also contribute to the development of the open education resources, right? And of course, if the open education resources are available, the most biggest advantage of these resources is you can, right, what we say sometimes the pervasive, being a computer science guy, I can see the pervasive computing, but here we can say the pervasive learning also. So pervasive learning, basically we can define something which you can, right, learn anytime, anywhere, or anything. Okay, so there's the three words generally we use in computer science to define what we mean by the pervasive computing. So it's anything, anytime, right, or anywhere. So the same concept can be applied when you have open education resources. And two things are, of course, are essential, right? One is the hardware which supports, and second, the availability of the content online. So these are the two primitive requirement of any open educational resource. Now, as far as the history of the open, right, educational resources is concerned, or you can say the facilitator for your open learning or the open pedagogy is concerned. So internet is no doubt is the foremost requirement, right? And we know, if you look back around 20 years back, the internet was not as good as we have today. So we should be thankful to our scientists, our engineers, our the various kind of the researchers who have really bring the internet to our tips, and the bandwidth is also good. The support in infrastructure support for the internet is also good. So we can ensure, and we are should be thankful, because in a very difficult time of the COVID pandemic, we have realized the power of the true power of the internet. So internet is one, and then there are some web development tool also. There are so many software. You can say the uh, practices or software are being developed to facilitate this, right? A new culture of learning called arc of life learning is emerging, where play, questioning, and imagination are pivotal to the continued quest for knowledge. Okay, so it's not some sort of a old ways of teaching. Uh, I said in my last lecture, uh, we do always practice the education, right, in the field and in the outside the classrooms, And I gave the example of your the very famous our ancient universities like Takshila, right? Where always your teaching was not based on the books; it was based on your experience and experimentation. Also, same thing by even in our teaching methodology, the game theory, right? Or maybe storytelling and something like this. So we have to make it more interesting. So that's there. Now, what are the principles of the openness? So, five principles are being outlined here. There might be more. So, one is your collaboration and sharing of information, right? So, if you are dependent that, okay, now it's not my job to create the contents and then allow others to share them, then I think we are losing the uh, basic fundamental concept of this open learning. So we have to collaborate with each other and share the contents which are good and you feel is
जो
beneficial.
ख्वाबों ख्यालों में सोचा नहीं था.
Participant, kindly mute.
Gyanendra,
Gyanendra, kindly mute yourself. Gyanendra, please mute yourself. Don't disturb. Mr. Gyanendra, please mute yourself.
otherwise we have to remove you.
Yes, otherwise we'll have to. We are forced to remove you from the meeting, Mr. Gyanendra.
Connected communication about learning and right teaching, that is also essential requirement. And then collectively to grow knowledge and resources, as I said, we already have witnessed a large amount of the contents the people have shared, and they are very much valuable to both teachers as well as the students. But we have to still provide the filtered content and which are useful and much easier to understand. Right? There are so many lectures we find the people have online available, which are much easier to understand. So this is another requirement, and then we see critic for the promotion of the scholarship. So how we do promote your teaching skills, your right other R&D skills, and right the skills which you want among your students as well as among the teachers. So you can somebody can comment on your capability or on your literature or on your creation, and then you can take it very sportly and then try to do that. Innovation and innovation is of course is a very important issue. So innovation has to be there always, and we should appreciate if it is available online and should contribute. So contribution is always has to be there. Then definition of uh, open education practices written here: the ability to freely access resources, reuse, revise, remix, and redistribute them, defines them as an open educational resource. I think everyone knows, and we are using, as I said, the available online contents, and many people who are uh, really, you can say, the volunteers do whatever is being written in this one sentence, and they are the real contributor to the open education resources. OER is a mix of open content and education material freely available for anyone to use under some license of remix, improve, and redistribute. OER and MOOCs are at the forefront of the open education movement and have become significantly important education system across the world. This we have realized and have experienced in this pandemic time, right? So open education practices contribute to the range of practices around the creation, use, management of open educational resources with the intent to improve quality and innovate education. So these some attributes which are necessary for your open education practices has to be formalized. We are not saying that the contents are not available or the people are not using, or the some sort of a management is there, but we found that at times the finding the correct contents becomes very time consuming as well as becomes difficult. So what is most required thing is the management. So if you have a better management of all the open educational resources available to us, I think we can use them more, you can say the frequently and with the efficiency. So creation is of course is important. Use is also of course is important, but the management I believe is the foremost importance, right? And which everyone has to contribute. So that we have to do. Um, we have found that many innovative ideas are there on the internet and the open source. So innovation becomes more, you can say the global, and you can really get benefited for this. So open, you can say the education that way is very much beneficial. Now, are open textbook OER? I think yes. Open textbooks are subset of OER. And while we focus much of our efforts on creation, assessing, sharing, supporting open textbooks, there are many types of OER available, such as online courses, videos, audios, presentation slides, supplementary material such as quizzes and assignments. So open textbooks, I think everybody of you have experienced that many books you download from the internet, and they are, some of the books are uh, freely available, and many people are providing the access to the many kind of the, and there are some websites also where you can download your required books and then can use. But apart from this, other you can say the resources are online courses, video, and this all we have experienced. So okay, lots of material is available online. One of the driving factor of the adaptation over here, such as open textbooks, is they are free, right? So, but free doesn't mean that we should misuse them. The cost of saving is also important, and I think if we can make it freely available, more and more valuable contents, I think we are going to help especially the kids from the villages or the rural background, right? So that is very, very important to make the content available. And some those people are very, very good in creation of the detailed documentation, and that are easy to follow, especially science, maths, right, engineering. I think they will be going to be benefit the large, you can say the population, young population, which are really wants to learn, right? So this is really important. Okay. Now we have some attributes defined because, right, when you say open pedagogy has certain kind of the requirements, and then we have to follow some certain principles. So one says it's a participatory technologies, right? So we are users of, you can say, the open resources, because open resources have to be created very carefully. We know the large number of resources are available in different forms, and we have realized something called blogs, wikis, video, photos, audio, and so many forms, right? But one has to create and put it into the public domain. That's also necessary. So that we have to realize. What is the advantage? Because when you put your content online, you get some critic also, some good comment also, so we can improvise and make it more simple and understandable. Another, it improves the peer-to-peer learning also, right? And change attribute towards intellectual property. Okay. Now, intellectual property can be something which you can provide freely, and we can call that is a open source. If I have created an intellectual property and I have to charge for that, we generally say it's a proprietary. So intellectual property does not mean here that you are creating propriety asking money from the students or the user community. Here we mean intellectual property which you have your own name, but you provide it free of cost to the users. So that's the meaning over here. Then diversification of cultural expression, very, very important, because when you are online, right, I think you might belong to different cultures, and you can when you share your experiences, I think you are increasing the what we call generally the diversity, the right, unity in diversity. So that's another important aspect of this participatory right, technologies, or we can say our participatory expressions. So that's also important. The development of skill value in the modern workplace, which is, I think, very, very important, right? At times, we do not follow the ethics, and it talks about, right, how to really behave and how to really have the high ethical values as well as the manners, etiquettes, and so many things. So that is also essential. I think we can make use of this very powerful platform, which is a open platform, or you can say the internet. Empowering conception of citizenship, another important aspect. Can we generate, or can we really increase the feeling of the nationhood, right? We belongs to this great country, India, right, Bharat, and can we do that using this, right, participatory mode? So that is also important. Now, participate technology is something called affiliation, right? And it's not necessary that we have to really go word by word for this, but let's discuss some of the its attributes which are important for participation. So, members in form informal online community centered around the different type of the medium, including social media, online games. Second, expression, right? So you have to be creative in whatever way you want. You have to collaborate with different people, right? That is necessary. Collaboration in problem solving is, of course, is one of the very, I think, attractive feature which we can easily implement using this open platform, or the platform on the internet, right? So I think this is something, the third point is very, very important, where you can make the complex problems also very easy to understand by the people who may not be able to otherwise comprehend through using books, or using any reading material, or using the research papers. So sometimes this is really highly useful for the number of students or a group of students. The circulation is, of course, if it is online, then the circulation is, of course, is okay, widely spread. So another very, very important aspect. The components should be view participatory environment. Resource need to be freely accessed. Okay, so this we have, I think, already discussed. So second is people openness and trust. These are the three characteristics which sometimes it's difficult to realize the openness, because we do have our own sometimes egos, or sometimes our right superiority complex, and so many things. And out of that, the interaction sometimes is being limited to the written messages and something that, okay. And therefore, we have written in the connectivism and connective knowledge, the blogging environment was performed over forum interactions, right? Due to negative experience encountered by participants. So at times when you have a discussion or interactions, right, something goes wrong, and then you realize, right, the interaction, or which we can say the face-to-face interaction is not good. So therefore we relies on this. And therefore this reduces the opportunity for being, for engaging in an open, trusting, and diverse learning environment. And interaction in the course becomes less engaging as more and more participant becomes blog refugees. So I think we have to inculcate the culture of very positive interaction among the participants in this uh, open, you can say, the pedagogy, and that is the requirement. So we have to build the trust, right? We have to create a diverse learning environment with openness. So that is being the need, and we have to realize that we have to give away with the bad, you can say, the attributes of this open pedagogy. Innovation is creativity, I believe, is much more than you have the silos where you do not share your thoughts, where you do not share your creations. And if you share your creations and innovation in the open platform, you will may get better suggestions from maybe a person who may not be educated as you are. So sometimes this open education resources can be extended and are extended to the different communities, and they by their experience can suggest you to make your innovations and creativity much more rich rather than right okay confined to your own thoughts or the thoughts of the small group. So that's very important, and right, some points are being written here, and we can realize the power of the open this open education resources also, or the open pedagogy. Now, sharing ideas and resources again, right? I think open platform or the internet can provide you the much more benefit, or the sharing of your ideas much more easier than anything else. So we say through sharing their knowledge and ideas, the and actively asking the assistance within the social network community of peers, they were exposed to effective practice of open environment. So I think it's a very true statement. The flow on effect that occurs through sharing resources is regarded as a conduit for expanding the personal knowledge and skills that teachers hold. This open process can enhance not only the quality and diversity of learning and teaching material through OER, but also teaching methods and the design of learning environments. In open environment, the production of user-generated content, sharing and participation in the learning processes is more likely to be encouraged. So I think we all have realized over the time in last few years that when we listen to some lectures which are open on available online, and if you find the teacher or the expert who is giving the lecture is really good one, having good knowledge, we really appreciate and we learn a lot of things. So it's not like a practicing and learning from your own class, but now your this online platforms also gives us some sort of a teaching or some sort of a teaching in pedagogical practices, which you can realize by your experience or by sharing and by training yourself online. So therefore, I think this becomes very essential and good to have. Now, connected community, right? So how do you connect your community much more using these open or online platform? So we say connected community is not only essential for collaboration and sharing resources, but also it is an indication of a participatory nature. Okay, so we are discussing that the participation can vary from the contribution to the share, not only the contents, but maybe the technology, but also the participation, right? Also necessary. So participation varies, or the participation levels can vary. One can be a creator, one can be contributor, one can be only user. So this can be. But anyhow, I think if only if it is a user level participation, that also sometimes provides some sort of a feedback which improves the creation of the contents as well as the technology. To participate in the connected community, the conduit of social media or other technology system is needed. According to the 2015 NMC Horizon report, over the next 4 to 5 years, student will be able to connect at will to a global network termed as Internet of Things, and this will have implications for education as we know it. So I think many of you might have heard the name of the Internet of Things. So when we say the Internet of Things, generally we mean we are going to connect each and everything with the internet, right? May it be your household devices, may it be your personal devices, may it be your lighting system, may it be right anything. So same thing is here. The education can also become the part of the internet, and therefore we can say the education is also the Internet of Things. But normally the Internet of Things we does not may not be encompasses your education or the open pedagogy. But now we um, can include the open pedagogy also in the Internet of Things, because each and everything can get connected, right? We can use the internet for the learning practices or improving our teaching habits or teaching practices, and therefore we can say the open pedagogy is also belongs to the Internet of Things. And sometimes we also say Internet of Everything. So they are varied word which normally talks about using, you can do that particular task using the internet. So that's the meaning of Internet of Things. And I think with this we do have, I think everybody of you have heard about the cloud also. Okay, so cloud is something where all kinds of contents are available, and then you can use the cloud services to right, to your benefit. Okay, so that's also important. Then we have a learner generated. So when considering how OER can move into open sphere, uh, a willingness to manipulate learning experiences to suit an openness philosophy is key. This required opening up the process of empower students to take the lead, solve problems, and work collectively to produce art, artifacts that they share, discuss, reconfigure, and redeploy. So I think all these are a very important requirements of your right, this open educational resources. We are saying if the people will not contribute freely, then it cannot be said to be open education resources, because as we are discussing, these are the resources which are freely available to each and every one without any cost. So if we want, I think the biggest example, I think from those who little bit know about the operating system. When your computer came, I think initially we have a operating system called DOS, and that time the DOS was costing a lot, right? And then it comes the Unix system, and the cost of the Unix system was, you can say, the very high. We have experienced while we were doing our MTech and PhD at IIT Roorkee, right? The cost of the HP systems was somewhere in crores. And that time we realized the crore was too much when I did my MTech in 90s. And after 4 5 years, your system also becomes old, and then you have to revive. So lots of money goes, and it's not possible for each and every institutions or each every individual to really okay, afford that kind of a cost. So I think we should be thankful to a fellow, right, who was in the this division of Unix, and he realized that I should develop something called open software, Linux, which is freely available to the user without any cost. Now everybody of, I think most of the student might realize the Linux is available free of cost, or it's available for a very small cost, okay, which everyone can afford. And that open operating system has changed, right? The scenario of education system also, we are not supposed to spend so much, right? And now the large community of the not only teachers or the practitioners, but the students also contribute, and that has become such a robust operating system now, which is free of cost, that everybody's love to work on the Linux in today's world. And I think you need not to really rely on these Windows, or you need not to pay the cost. You can use your Linux, which is available open line, or available free of cost, right? And these are the good examples of how the uh, people can be benefited by the open source right, technologies. So that is important. Here we are talking the same way. The pedagogy depends upon the contents which are available, and depends upon the methods which we can really learn from the network. And if they are available free of cost, I think it's the best. One can have the self-learning through these open resources. Now, reflective practices talks about teaching practice is changed from the broadcast mode to one of curation in our digital information rich world, where learners with access to the web can assess a merit of resources. I think earlier, right, teachers say something, student listens, and then they can learn whatever the teachers communicates. It's not now limited to the teachers. You have each and everything available on the, as I said, on the tip of your finger. Mobiles are so powerful that you can download anything and you can read it from as the screens are of a quite good size. Softwares are available to tailor the contents to your screen, a small screen as well as big screen. So there is no dearth of, I think, the resources now. Only thing is we have to realize and we have to use them. That is the requirement. Social curation appears to be more applicable to education and is described as the discovery, collection, and sharing of digital objects like links, pictures, and videos by the individual for a social purpose. I think truly said. And we know it's earlier when you go for a trip, right, you have to carry a separate camera. Now your mobile is so powerful that you can take pictures right instantly and send to your friends, your family, and can share your experiences. So you can look at right how your open technologies are helping you in your day-to-day life. The same can be realized when when you are in the classroom, right? So, but you should know how to use them. That is the most important requirement. So it is the construct that the reflective practices in an integral part of teachers selecting OER resources for their student and vice versa. So we should know, right, how to use them. That is very much required. And peer review, I think this is the most important aspect of our open pedagogy, or I can say the pedagogy. If I can have the right kind of the feedback on my teaching pedagogies, I think this provides me the right way of teaching. So when you are in class, most of the time the students are afraid of their grades, their marks. So the feedback is available is not that correct as we wish. But here, when you put your contents in the open environment, the true critics or the true feedback is available, and then you can improve upon, and slowly you can master upon right your traits which you like to be. Okay, so therefore peer review is much more strong when we use the open platform or open resources, and that's I think is the most important for a teacher and most important for its improvement and to learn the modern pedagogies. So this is really a very important attribute of your open pedagogy, right? So because unless until some feedback is given to you on your teaching skills, right, you cannot improve. So for improvement, I think this peer review is very helpful. Yeah. So the main duty of a teacher is not that of simply providing facts or delivering a lecture. I think all of us agree. And sometimes we feel okay now 40 minutes of 15 we have spoken in the class, one way delivery, and we think okay we have done our job. But that's not true. I think we are defying our duties as a teacher, right? The role of a teacher is to uh, aid his students in the developing and understanding of the material with which they are being presented. Okay, that is, a teacher is more of a facilitator of learning. So I think nowadays we say, right, facilitator. Why facilitator? Because most of the things are available to the students. As I said, large amount of information is available on the internet, right? And at times the student is not mature enough to know what to study, what not to study, and he struggles really finding the good resources from where he can study and can learn. So the teacher's duty is not only giving the lectures, but I think he has to facilitate, he has to tell his students what to read, where to read, right? and all these things. So this is very, very essential aspect of teaching now. And therefore we say teacher is a facilitator also, right? So he's a, sometimes we say he's a mentor also, right? So mentoring is doesn't mean that you are lecturing only. Mentoring means you are guiding him in all spheres of his life, wherever you feel necessary that okay now, and then he can say you are true guru. Okay, so teacher is, and there is a difference between a teacher and guru, right? Guru we always mean that he is a right whole soul our guide. So that's necessary to understand. Now we have large number of platforms, right, for as a open resources. I think you know, we just look at the different slides, okay, and then you can realize and you can find which one is better for you and which one you can use. So every one of us, most of the things we know, but I've just put some slides to revive your okay the concepts, and you can realize you can use them and how to use them. So we have a this SWAM. I think you might are using this and advising your student to use the SWAM platform, because large number of courses are available which are really taught in a much better way and in a conceptual way. But again, when you have a large number of courses and different courses being taught by the 5 people, you can tell your student which one is better for him, right? Him or her. So this is the need of teacher, right, to guide. So otherwise, we can say there is no need for the teacher in a class. And this is just glimpses of SWAM again, and then right. Then we have a SWAM Prava. I think you're aware that there is always some channels on the TV which delivers the lectures in a different subjects, and I've experienced some of them are really very, very good. Student listens to them, you can advise them which lecture is good, which is not good, okay, and then some of them they can learn. And it is necessary in the light of the NEP 2020, which was where it is being said that the student should have a multidisciplinary kind of a knowledge. And sometimes it's not possible for any teacher or any institution to train any student in each and every sphere of the, you can say, the life. If it's a student of a engineering, right, time is hardly left in the institutions to teach arts or to music or something like this. So we can ask them to use these platforms to learn, right, the subjects of his choice or his hobby. And then we have a national digital library. Okay, here also you can find the kind of contents which are available, and sometimes we are not aware of, right, to use them and how to use them. So at least we can put some time to know what is available and can advise our student in the classes or the institutions to use them properly, right? So these are the some snapshots from the website of this National Digital Library of India. Okay, a very useful resource for all of us, right, and as well as the students. But again, we have to advise the student, right, how to use it, right, and at times ask him to refer in his project, in his studies, or something like. Then we have a EPG Parsala, gateway to ebooks also. So ebooks, students now not fond of buying the books from the market. They always prefer to have it online, so they can have them in mobile, they can have them in their uh, laptops. And I think they are much smarter than us. We know that, but still, we can guide some of the students. So these kind of the information are much more beneficial for, as I said, for the rural students where they lack little bit of the okay these kind of knowledge. So that is also essential. And this is again a snapshot from this website. Then we have a Shodh Ganga, where you have a something related to your journal research and development. So I think we can, some of us can have a good knowledge of this Shodh Ganga, and then again advise to our students what is available, what is not available. Okay, and this is another snapshot. We can use this as a huge resource which is available, right, and we can use. And okay, so you can see there is some quote right from the APJ Abdul Kalam ji also, and he said right? We must develop the open source softwares rather than relying on the proprietary solutions, because he is of the opinion that if we develop more open resources, then it will benefit to a large community which cannot really afford the cost of the proprietary solutions, and therefore we must encourage the development of open source software in our education institutions. We have to really appreciate if it is a small uh, right software or a small patch, even if being developed by some of our students, we should encourage and we should help him in the creation. So I think this is one thing we have to go right very sincerely and try to develop the softwares. Then spoken tutorial, right? Again, this is another platform where the student can be get benefited, okay, and can use it. Then virtual labs, we have realized in this pandemic time, and we have used these virtual labs. Okay, large number of labs are available over here where student can practice. Okay, the simulation is being shown here for many labs, but still lot of contribution is required, right? This virtual lab platform, I think everyone of can contribute, right? So and can put it in a best way of explanation so the student can have an easier understanding, right? So these are the partner student institutions, but we can also become the partner. Okay, so this is some again a snapshot from right. Then Vidwan is another where you will find your large number of okay, experts database. You can right take this one to find which has done what, and right you can get the benefit of it. Okay. Now, so what is important here is this is what we can do online, and what our duty is as a teacher. Okay, that is important. So while sharing a PDF file or while presenting a PPT, right, what kind of the care we should take. Okay, otherwise sometimes become boring and one-way delivery. So we said the chunk, the PDF lecture contain file in multiple small units for better student engagement and attention. So don't right deliver the all the contents. You can have the breakpoints in between, right? And then you can some sort of after some slides you can have some sort of an activities where the students can get engaged, can make it more you can say the interesting. You can have some sort of a puzzles, you can have some sort of the problems also. You can provide the hyperlink also in your website, in your PDF files, where you want to show the additional contents, the references, or maybe some video which is showing some practical applications, right? If it is an let's say civil engineering, you can show teaching some construction material, you can show online through your video. Okay, some work which is going in the field, and you can show how what are the machineries being used, how it is being used, what are the material are being used. So some sort of a video in between will really make your sessions more interesting. And then create a focus question about the content of being learned, resources being referred. And very, very important. Okay. So question, if you put the question, the students being forced to think. If you force the student to think, I think somewhere in his mind, he keeps the contents in a much better organized way. And he's able to answer your critical questions on later on also. So some sort of a questionnaire after your presentation is very necessary, or we can say some points to ponder at the end of the lecture or end of your PPTs. So that will really give some sort of insight or force the students to think. Okay, so that should not be the question like we define what, where, and that's a very rudimentary kind of a question, is not going to lead you to anywhere. The question must be something where you force any students to think out of the box. So again, it should be, might be a, some sort of a creative activity or some sort of a innovative kind of a thoughts. Sometimes we expect the answer of each and every should be correct. That should not be. yesterday, I think the Rana Sahab has also, those who have listened to him, he has said the thought process of the student is much more important than the answer to the question. So that a teacher we must hear. Some of the teachers always rely, okay, whatever is being written in the book, that should be written in toto. That's a very bad concept. You are not a true, you can say the teacher, or you have not learned anything out of your the pedagogy. So if you really want to be a good teacher, you have to have accept the version of his new thought process or the answer which he has given to you. May not be. If it is logically correct, you have to really appreciate. Okay, now later on you can tell. Okay, now the correct answer for of this question is this and why, both. So that is very essential aspect of your pedagogy. So we have a set of practice questions based on the content just thought as the appropriate place in your PPT or in your file. It's not necessary the questions should be placed at the end only. Once you think your one topic has finished, you can have a few questions, not like 20, 30. You can have a one or two questions where you can think, okay, now it's true. If I give this question, student is forced to learn whatever you have in your slides or in your PDF file. So that's also an essential requirement of right your pedagogical practices. So these are the activities which you have to follow when you are using the open educational resources for the teaching purposes. Okay. At times, sometimes we say the blended learning is also good. So blended learning, you are going to use your Blackboard also as the same time you are using your PPT and other resources also. So of course, these kind of the teaching you have to imbibe in your practice and can use. Again, while sharing your PPT or a PDF file, student along with your voice or have logical breaks between the sessions in the form of small meaningful chunks. Okay, so this may not be related to your topic also. Sometimes maybe some kind of a okay, you can tell them some sort of a different kind of the references or different kind of the context what you are teaching. So these breaks helps in providing the breather for both instruction and learner before diving deeper into the topic or shifting to a new topic. So these are the some kind of let's say traits which the teacher has to learn. So when you are beginning a new teacher, of course, some sort of a background must be given. Why you are teaching that topic? What is the importance of that topic in the practical life? That is very very important. Uh, So use some of these breakpoints in the session to pose a question to the student that will provide an opportunity for them to reflect upon what they just have learned, right? Very important point, because if you do not ask any question in between, right, half of your class might be in a sleep mode. So to keep your student awakened or to keep your student alive, give a some sort of a small jerk in your class and ask questions so that you can just okay get them involved in your class. That is also important. So some sort of a vibration in a class are essential to keep your class live. Okay, and I think yesterday I again remind you what Rana Sahab has said and how he has engaged you. Okay, you can realize the real uh, importance of the kind of pedagogy you should have in your classrooms. By recording yourself so that a student can see and hear your explanation of the slides. Okay, so you should record your contents, can send the contents to your students, and while explaining what is important, you should have a high eye contact, and as we have said, if avoid speaking to visual or see, just you don't see your slides or your notes. Storytelling is of course is a right very important aspect of our lecturing. We if you think your primary classes, We used to listen the story from the teachers, and we really have loved. And over the time, when we become mature, we stopped, right, this storytelling. And sometimes our lecture also becomes yesterday. And I have seen, I think you might have listened to K.K. Agrawal Sahab. He always tells some stories, and we really feel involved, and we really appreciate these. Sometimes storytelling in a class is a good one. If I can really connect to my topic to some small stories, fine at times. Okay, so here I can. Those who are from the computer science, I think, can understand. I've been reminded by some story where Akbar, I think everybody know, Birbal, everybody know. Akbar gave a story, the puzzle to his courtiers, right? There is one princess and maid and some pigeons are being locked up in some very difficult situation from where she cannot escape, and there was no route available. And finally, there was some book, right, which gives the method of getting out of that difficult location. Okay, and now the condition was that this book should reach to the prince, which can come and escape, sorry, can save the this princess from that, you can say, the some cave or something like that. And the difficulty was how to send that book. So the courtyards were having some discussion, and somebody said, okay, now we can tie the book in the neck of a pigeon, and then the pigeon can carry that book. But somebody said, okay, no, the book is too heavy, and one pigeon cannot carry that book. And there might be so many questions you can ask from your student. Okay, the book can be lost. If the book is lost, then the princess cannot be, right, saved from that location. So that is also important. And somebody said, okay, now turn this book and then send one few pages with one pigeon, and then the another pigeon. Then another courier said, okay, now let's say the one pigeon is dies, or somebody, okay, somebody kills that pigeon. Then what will happen to the book? Or again, the princess can never be escaped from that location. So lots of questions there, and then the Birbal walks into the court, and he said, the Akbar asked him this puzzle again, and he said, it's a very very simple. Then he said, how? And then he said, okay, now no problem at all. The princess can ask his maid to copy those pages from the book and put some numbers on each and every page. And when these page can be sent to the prince, and prince has to again, while returning that pigeon to the Rajkumari, he has to send the page number which he has received. Okay, and this way the every pigeon will do the same, and then finally the book is with the Rajkumari. Original book is with the Rajkumari, and the handwritten book is with the prince, and prince can come and save the princess. Okay, this is the way it can be done. And what it reminds for the computer science engineers is what is called your sliding window protocol, or the way the information is being communicated in the computer networks. Right? Whenever you send some information in the computer, how do you ensure that the information has reached to the destination? You ensure the information has reached the destination, right? We normally send the acknowledgement back to the source. So it reminds the how the communication happens in the network. And this story, right, is a picturization of the communication between the one person and the another person. And by telling the story, you can ask your students, okay, what are the various problems which are being associated while you transfer the book to from the princess to the prince. It's not simply, let's say, we are reminding something. We are also inculcating the thought process, inculcating the problem solving skills. We are also inculcating the question asking culture, we are also inculcating or we are also forcing students to think out of the box and what are the problem analysis, which is very, very important. So when you relate your lectures or when you tell some stories, your mind always starts working in a self mode. Automatically, it comes into thinking mode, and you start questioning yourself. Okay, and then inquisitiveness increases. So this story is not only explaining your topic, but it really generates inquisitiveness in a student. So that's also important, right? So it's not possible that every time you tell a story, otherwise your course will not be get completed. But anyhow, okay, whenever you find a small story, you can say. And therefore, in management, the case studies are being treated very important. But in engineering or in arts or in other subjects, we never give importance to your case studies. I think we should give the importance to the case studies also, which reflects the real scenarios of your life. So it's important. Okay, provide practice to the learner through the activity after teaching a topic, so that a learner gets the opportunity to apply concept. So activity, of course, is important. I think everybody of us appreciate. Solve the problem in more detail than you would, so that every student can follow it. If you are recording your video on a paper or a digital whiteboard to explain problem solving tutorial, this is very important. Sometimes we restore to the solution which is being given in the book. Okay, and then it lost somewhere. Then the student also think, okay, what extra the teacher has done? It's already available in the book. So you have to solve your problem. Each and every step should be clear with reasoning. It's not like you write a step and don't give a reason why you have written. So reasoning why, what is very necessary for each and every step. So do that. Right, student questions and their response in advance. It's also important. With your experience, you have come up with the list of questions that students usually ask related to the problem. Answer them as you solve the problem on paper, on digital board, and would also encourage them to ask questions. Okay, so don't give answers in advance, but you can pose the questions, wait for some time. If they are okay, there might be many students who can answer your questions. If they are not, then finally you give the correct answers. Okay, and then it will be done. So final words is, of course, OER, we have realized, are a very, very important and an essential component of your pedagogy. You cannot live without now OERs, cannot live without practicing your this open pedagogy. So we have to understand the importance and power of this open education resources that we have to realize. And we must learn how to use them and how to practice them. So that's the requirement. And with this, I thank you. I ask one of my colleague, Sumit, to share with you, right, how excellently he has used this your Google Classroom and has put his content. So he will show you for, let's say, 2-3 minutes, and then we can have a question answer.
Thank you, respected director, sir. A warm welcome to everyone. Hello. Yeah, a warm greetings to everyone. Uh, so, I hope most of us prefer a shopping mall over going for the open market, because we want to access all the things at one place under one roof. In the same manner, students also wants that they can get all the study materials at one click only. So we can provide them through the one of the best platform, that is Google platform. So uh, I'll show you how to use and how can we utilize this Google platform.
Mr. Subhas, could you please turn off your camera? Mr. Subhas Harijan, please turn off your camera. Mr. Subhas Harijan, please turn off your camera.
So here in the Gmail, in the right top, is the page is visible to everyone? I think so. Here in the box, you can see this Google Classroom. So after clicking on it, you will get a totally classroom. This will be totally digital classroom. So here you will get a classroom. So whatever you have the subject, you can create a classroom for individual subjects by clicking here. You can join class or create class. By creating this class, you can create a class. So like this, the class has already created by me. There are 3 classes. So in the class, what you can see, you can put all your the materials in this um, announcement. So after each class, you can drop your the content or the assignment or YouTube video if you have created directly into this Google Classroom. So by clicking only one this classroom, the student will able to get all this lecture. Suppose this is a lecture, so he will get all the lecture only in one platform. So this will be the lecture. So if you have provided them assignment, you can he can also see the assignment if after, and you can also give them deadline to submit the assignment. After the deadline, you can also put the solution here. And if you have created any YouTube link, you can directly put here also for the respective lectures, like here. So here, this if you have make this solution, you can also give them solution through this announcement after the deadline. So here you can just uh, see to create the assignment, you can just click to create here and assignment. If this will be assignment, then assignment, quiz assignment, question or anything. This will be in this classroom option. So by creating the assignment, you can give the deadline also by here. You can put the due date here. There will be due date. So whatever the time is required for completing the assignment, or you want to give the time, you can just click, suppose here, and the time. So by here, you can give the assignment. So it is a very wonderful platform through which you can interact the whole student at a once. And after this assignment, all this assignment, you can grade the student in a proper manner. You can see also it will be very useful to you only, that you can see all the statistics of students in one view. You can see here the student, if he has submitted, then there will be some green marks will come, and if he has not submitted, then it will be written missing. And whatever you wants to provide the give the number or marks for the respective assignment, you can give here directly. And after all this assignment, you can calculate it through the by summation of all the marks will be the total marks. So it will be very easy for assessment also. So that was all for the Google Classroom. So here you can this is not there is not a limitation that you will create only one classroom. So you can create as many number as you want. That's for soil mechanics, water resource. So here, so thank you. I hope many of you will use this Google Classroom easily, and it will be obviously it will be very useful to a student as well as for you also. So thank you.
Is any question here?
So participants, if you have any question, please put it in the chat box, or you can unmute yourself and you can ask the question. Unmute yourself and ask the question. So there's one.
Hello.
Yes.
Sir, good evening, sir. Good afternoon, sir. Hello, sir.
Good afternoon.
Hello.
Yes.
Can you hear me, sir? Can you hear me, sir? So, what is the best platform of to create the videos in OER platform?
Could you please repeat your question? Slowly, could you speak a little?
Uh-huh. What is the best platform to create the lecture videos in OER platform? I mean, best channel I'm talking about.
I think as far as the ODI is concerned, uh, there might be some transcripts available where you can convert and you can see on any platform. Only recording in that way. You can use the past this Google Classroom also because your voice is coming over there, right? And then you can supervise yourself. Not for only English.
Okay. So can we use the OBS for to create the YouTube videos
I think
for students, sir, for future reference?
you can use. The only thing is you can use any software for recording your lectures, right?
Okay. Okay.
Recording you can on any platform. It's not a problem.
Okay. So that students can able to understand what we have we are going to we are going to teach in front of the uh, studio, right, sir?
See, we never said that only online teaching will be helpful for each and everybody. Sometimes, always, we are saying this is a supportive technology, right? There is no
Yes, sir. Yes.
substitute for personal interaction. So, your online educational resources are supportive. They support your learning, they support your teaching, right? But you cannot say that personal interaction is not required. Always there is a need of the personal interaction between the student and the teacher. That's foremost requirement.
Okay. Okay. Okay, sir.
Yeah, there is a one question. Do this online will be helpful for the rural? Yes, because every one of us know. The question is most of the rural areas where majority of engineering colleges are located. Uh, is the open learning or online mode is really possible? Yes. Reason is being, I think every one of us know, right? We have a very limited number of teachers, and especially the teachers never wants to live in the rural areas. So your problem of having the good teachers or the sufficient teachers becomes more relevant to your rural areas. Now, question is, how are we going to help the students of that area is? And we all know the students, of course, are at times are little weak. They have a language issues also. So, as the I think if I pronounce correctly, Sukanna, it's a G Sukanna has
Yes, sir.
asked,
Yes, sir.
yes, has very good question. Can we have some delivery in the local language? Yes. So sometimes it is always beneficial to write have your lectures being recorded in both the languages, English as well as in your local language for, let's say, first year and second year, so that students can learn your contents, right, in local language, and at the same time he can learn how to convert those things in your English. So as you deliver in your classes, sometimes when you deliver in classes, you use both the language, both the ways. You use your local language also, you use your English also, so a student can understand. So we should not feel shy in recording the lectures in the same way as you do in your regular classrooms. Sometimes we feel, okay, now it's all open platform and somebody will listen. Okay, what we will say, I don't know English or this and that. No, we should not shy. We are a teacher. And if we found this is useful for my student, I should do that without fearing or without just thinking, okay, what others will think. Okay. So as far as the rural engineering institutions are concerned, we really have to use this kind of the technology, but at the same time, as I said, when students are there, these teachers should be there so he can also explain what the online contents are trying to say, because at times those contents are may not be clear, may be boring at times also, or a student may not be able to understand. So always support is always being required. So that's there, but we can learn it.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you for your input.
uh, I think thank you, and we have another session. Okay, the
There is one more question.
okay.
One more question. Sir, the feedback form students online mode is very poor. So
Yeah, okay. Now listen, this feedback of the teachers is a very crucial issue, I can understand, and sometimes the feedback of the good teachers also comes bad. Okay, that is also you are doing lots of labor with your student, and if you have done a not good marking at, then student may feel, and especially what the earlier right the participant was asking the question. So I think you need not to worry much about your feedback. Only thing, if you found that some feedback is good enough to improve yourself, right, then you should improve. So feedback is there, but feedback should be drafted in such, sometimes we draft the feedback in such a way, we are asking whether you are coming on time, whether your time delivery is being finished in time, right, or something which are highly irrelevant to your performance. The feedback should be designed to reflect your performance. We should ask, okay, what improvement you want. Should not ask, okay, my lecture was good or my lecture was bad. No, if my lecture, in what way my lecture was not true to your expectation, right? So the student forced to think, and then he should write, okay, now I was not able to understand this yes and no type of the feedback is never good, and that's not a feedback in my opinion. This is my personal opinion, because feedback is being taken to improve the quality of teaching. It's not being taken to penalize the teachers. So I think we must appreciate, and most of the institutions are just for the sake of the NBA, or just for the sake of the complying the requirement of the AICT or some regulatory body, are taking the feedback in yes and no form, and that's of a no use. So I believe sometimes when you are new and when you are a novice teacher, the feedback is poor. Don't worry about that. If it is feedback is poor, just think upon, is it true poor, or it's really the students are doing some mischievous behavior with you. So don't worry about that. But if you find that the feedback is poor because you need to improve, please do hard work and improve. So that should be.
is there any other question?
Okay, then I think thank you, and then we have a next session, and we'll start. And Dr. Rajiv Rawat is, I think, with us. So we will switch over. If you want, let's say, some break, right, 4-5 minutes, then it's okay. Otherwise, we'll start.
So participant, do you need a break or should we go on with the session? All right. So thank you so much, sir, for the enlightening talk. We look forward for more talks like this from you. Now, the next technical session, uh, we have Dr. Rajiv Kumar Rawat from Indian Institute of Technology, Kanpur. राजीव कुमार रावत ने राजनीति शास्त्र और हिंदी में परास्नातक करने आगरा विश्वविद्यालय से हाँ, आगरा विश्वविद्यालय शोध कार्य पूरा किया हुआ केंद्रीय अनुवाद भी किया गया है तथा विचार मंच कोलकाता द्वारा आचार्य विष्णुकांत शास्त्री पुरस्कार से भी पुरस्कारित किया गया है। आप लंबे एवं अन्य शहरों के राष्ट्रीय प्रौद्योगिकी संस्थान खड़गपुर में वरिष्ठ हिंदी अधिकारी के पद कार्यरत हैं। कार्यक्रमों का आयोजन एवं संचालन भी किया है। आपने देश की विभिन्न साहित्यिक पत्र पत्रिकाओं जैसे सन्मार्ग, अमर उजाला, दैनिक जागरण, राजभाषा, भारतीय आयुध निर्माणी समूह की गृह पत्रिकाएं आदि में लगभग 100 से अधिक लेख, समीक्षा लेख, रिपोर्टाज प्रकाशित किए हैं। आप हिंदी से अंग्रेजी एवं अंग्रेजी से हिंदी अनुवाद के विशेषज्ञ हैं। आपने मशीन अनुवाद एवं हिंदी, कंप्यूटिंग प्रौद्योगिकी संबंधी अन्य विषयों पर देश भर के अनेक शासकीय विभागों, विश्वविद्यालयों, IIT, NIT, केंद्रीय विश्वविद्यालयों में लगभग 200 से ज्यादा आलेख, पाठ, प्रस्तुतियां, कार्यशालाएं एवं व्याख्यान दिए हैं। फील्ड गन फैक्ट्री कानपुर से मासिक पत्रिका एवं वार्षिक पत्रिका रचना का भी आपने संपादन किया है। राष्ट्रीय प्रौद्योगिकी संस्थान खड़गपुर भारतीय प्रौद्योगिकी संस्थान खड़गपुर की मासिक पत्रिका झरोखा का आपने संपादन भी किया है। आपने भारतीय विज्ञान संस्थान बेंगलुरु की पुस्तकों को अंग्रेजी से हिंदी में अनुवादित किया है तथा आपने रामचरितमानस, तुलसी साहित्य अज्ञेय, नागार्जुन, प्रेमचंद, दिनकर आदि साहित्यकारों की रचनाओं पर आलेख विमर्श भी प्रस्तुत किए हैं। आपने सांस्कृतिक मंच शब्ददीप का सृजन एवं संचालन किया है। और आज डॉक्टर राजीव रावत हम सबसे प्राचीन एवं आधुनिक शिक्षा प्रणाली पर वार्ता करेंगे। और यह सेशन जो है, दिस सेशन विल बी पार्टली इन हिंदी, मोस्टली इन हिंदी एंड पार्टली इन इंग्लिश। आई होप यू विल एंजॉय इट। ओवर टू डॉक्टर राजीव कुमार रावत।
Hello, Raju.
सर नमस्कार सर।
Yeah, welcome. So, for the participants, some may not be having the Hindi background, but we thought let us have some sort of one session on pedagogy, how it can help you in delivering your classes, because as I said, the students are most of the time from the diverse platform, and sometimes delivering in Hindi also becomes essential. So how can we make our pedagogy more effective by intermixing Hindi or some local language? I think that the Rajiv ji will let you know. And what is the importance of the language in your pedagogy? That is also an important aspect, because always being said, if you teach in your mother tongue, then it is always effective. So with this, I welcome Dr. Rajiv Kumar Rawat, and I believe will be useful. Don't worry, feel free to ask the questions if it is not clear. And he will try to explain in English also at the same time while speaking in Hindi. So I request Rajiv ji also just make it more interactive and the people will enjoy. Thank you, Rajiv.
सर नमस्कार आप सभी को जो NIT सिक्किम के FDP पेडागोजी रूम में हैं। जैसा कि सर ने कहा, आज का मेरा सेशन थोड़ा सा मिक्स रहेगा और आई वेलकम यू ऑल इन दिस very important class, very important program which the NIT Sikkim and IICT is running in collaboration. That is the requirement of the day. Maybe few of them who are attending this class, this program, maybe from the very rural areas where the English is not so much comfortable to all the students, even though teachers. Because I remember, sir, in the IIT Kharagpur, one of the very senior most professors, he was the senior most professor in the IIT Kharagpur, and he was from Lucknow, and he started his journey in IIT Kharagpur as a research fellow. And when he was retiring, so we were talking very formally in the farewell. Then he shared his experience some 47-48 years of back. तो बोले कि एक्चुअली जब मैं यहाँ पर इंटरव्यू देने आया था, तो जब मेरा इंटरव्यू खत्म हो गया और उसके बाद जो इंटरव्यू कमेटी थी, तो एक्चुअली मैं तो लखनऊ से आया था, गांव से आया था, तो इंटरव्यू कमेटी ने मुझसे बोला कि एक्चुअली मिस्टर माथुर, एक्चुअली वी वर नॉट एबल टू आस्क यू मेनी थिंग्स विच वी वर टू आस्क यू, एंड यू वर नॉट एबल टू आंसर एनीथिंग विच यू नो वेरी वेल. तो ऐसा होता है कि हम आपसे वो नहीं पूछ पाए जो आपसे पूछना चाहते थे. तो प्रोफेसर माथुर बोले कि सर एक्चुअली बिल्कुल सही कह रहे हैं आप सर, मैं भी वो नहीं बता पाया जो मैं आपसे कहना चाहता था। तो जो जो लैंग्वेज बाहर है, और ऐसा बहुत अच्छा हुआ कि आपने मुझसे वो नहीं पूछा जो आप जानते थे, और अच्छा हुआ जो मैं आपको नहीं बताया जो मैं जानता था। तो भाषाओं के मामले में, और हमारे यहाँ तो पुरानी परंपरा में कालिदास और विद्युत माँ का एक उदाहरण आता है, डॉक्टर धनंजय त्रिपाठी अपने किसी विचार में उसको रखेंगे कि कितना बड़ा वो पूरे के पूरे कालिदास को विद्युत माँ के रूप में एक ऐसा संयोग मिला था कि जहाँ उस बहुत हठी और विद्वान राजकुमारी के साथ उस समय के गुरुओं ने क्या पद्धति अपनाई, that you need not to answer anything whatever the question she asked। तो उसने बोला कि ब्रह्म एक है। उसने बोला, उन्होंने क्या सोचा कि अच्छा ये मेरी एक आंख फोड़ेगी, बोली नहीं मैं तेरी दोनों आंखें फोड़ूंगा। तो फिर गुरुओं ने एक्सप्लेन किया। सो द क्लास विच वी आर रनिंग, दैट्स अ पेडागोजी, एंड दिस इज द एक्चुअली हाउ अ टीचर एक्सप्लेन्स द थिंग्स whatever written in the book, they are the same, but one teacher is not, as sir ने जैसा भी कहा था, one feedback, one teacher teach the same thing, many students, many people like that, and the other teach the same thing, someone does not like that. So this is the how teaching is a very noble profession and a technique. So today's the talk of today, I have just planned not in very in academic manner, as we were discussing the topic with Professor Tripathi sir, and this was planned that many things will be academic, many things will be very research oriented, many things will be very like a classroom, and as the director and many other senior faculty members are associated with this program. So naturally, this is quite obvious that all the things, all the sessions are planned in such a way that many techniques, many technology, many other things are there. So I have kept my talk very limited to the academic side. I'll be talking in very general way, because overall, above all, we are the human. We are not teaching to the machine. We are not the machine, and we are not in a machine. We are in a classroom, either in a as you were talking, either you take in the modern era, if we take this era, post-pandemic era, or before that also, we are a teacher is dealing with a student. तो एक विद्यार्थी के साथ हमें डील करना होता है, और उस विद्यार्थी के साथ डील करने में हमें बहुत सी चीज़ों को मायने रखना होता है। और सबसे पहले चीज़ ये है कि हम ये देखें कि हम जिससे डील कर रहे हैं, हम उसको समझते कितना है, हम उसके साथ कैसा व्यवहार कर रहे हैं, हम जो सिखाना चाह रहे हैं वो सीखना चाह रहा है कि नहीं। और इन सब चीज़ों के साथ एक सामान्य बातचीत करते हुए, विद ए वेरी नॉर्मल रनिंग इंटरटॉकेटिव सेशन, आई विल बी टॉकिंग दिस प्राचीन शिक्षा पद्धति और नूतन शिक्षा पद्धति. So I'll be running through with my presentation, and my request will be to all of you, and this is a century on the Google Meet, maybe if you at the YouTube link also. So once again, I welcome you all, and I'll start with my presentation. And as I said कि आप इसमें बहुत कुछ academics न ढूंढें, बहुत जो क्लासिकल क्लासरूम टीचिंग है या क्लासिकल आपकी जो प्रेजेंटेशंस होते हैं वो ना ढूंढें, एक बहुत सिंपल वे में बातचीत करते हुए हम लोग आगे बढ़ेंगे. तो मैं अपना एक प्रेजेंटेशन शेयर करूंगा आपके साथ, आप उसको थोड़ा देखते चलें, मैं बीच बीच में अपनी बात भी रखता रहूंगा. और मेरा आप सभी से निवेदन होगा कि आप अपना कोई प्रश्न अगर हो तो उसे बीच में भी रख सकते हैं और उसके बाद भी रख सकते हैं. अब मुझे थोड़ा एक बार कंफर्म कर दीजिए कि आपको मेरी स्क्रीन दिखाई दे रही है।
It's visible, sir.
ओके। एक बार ये, और दूसरी बार ये बताइए कि यहाँ पर कितने ऐसे ज्यादा लोग हैं क्या जो हिंदी में थोड़ा कंफर्टेबल नहीं होंगे या हिंदी को समझने में दिक्कत होगी?
नहीं सर।
सब लोग, अधिकांश लोग समझ सकते हैं उस बात को? मैं कोशिश करूंगा कि उसको मिक्स करते हुए चलूं। तो ये आज की मेरी वार्ता का एक बहुत सामान्य विषय लिया है जो कि हम सबसे संबंधित है और बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण भी है, लेकिन हम इसको कहीं ना कहीं इसकी उपेक्षा कर देते हैं। वी गिव इट ए वेरी वेरी लिटिल कॉन्स। वाई? बिकॉज एज ऑफ टुडेज era, the modern technological era, we run through our daily life, our teaching life, our professional life, or even our personal life through many technical gadgets. And it has affected a lot. Not only the teacher, not only the student, सब कुछ बदला है इस आधुनिक प्रणाली में, सब कुछ बदला। तो मैं सबसे पहले आप सभी का हार्दिक स्वागत करता हूं AICT और NIT सिक्किम के इस संयुक्त तत्वावधान में आयोजित इस कार्यक्रम का। मैं दोनों पक्षों को, यानी कि मैं यहाँ पर किसी भी एक पक्ष की कोई बुराई या दूसरे पक्ष की अच्छाई बताता हुआ नहीं चलूंगा। मैं थोड़ी सी कोशिश करूंगा जस्ट गिव यू द बोथ द ग्लिम्पसेस, दोनों चीजों का थोड़ा थोड़ा परिचय मैं आपको देता चलूंगा, और सिर्फ प्रेजेंटेशन और कुछ बातचीत के सहारे। और जो भी मैं नहीं कहूंगा वो दिस इज ऑल विल बी लेफ्ट टू योर थॉट, योर एनालिटिक्स, whatever you take home for that. Prachi means certainly I will be talking of the ancient Indian education system, you can say, education pedagogy, you can say, or the whatsoever in today's world we call it pedagogy. हम इसको पढ़ाई की व्यवस्था, पढ़ाई की प्रणाली, पढ़ाई की पद्धति, शिक्षण पद्धति और कुछ भी नाम दे सकते हैं। पहले प्राचीन पद्धति में हमारे पास गुरुकुल होते थे, आज हमारे पास बहुत मॉडर्न क्लासरूम है। हमारे पास गुरुकुल का एक सेटअप होता था, आज की शिक्षण प्रणाली में भी एक सेटअप है। हम पहले कहते थे गुरुर् ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुदेवो महेश्वर गुरु साक्षात परम ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः। और आज हम गुरु के साथ कुछ अलग तरह से व्यवहार करते हैं। आज गुरु भी हमारे साथ कुछ अलग तरह के संबंध में जीते हैं। अब पूरा का पूरा परिदृश्य बदला है। पहले गुरु था जिसके आगे हम सिर झुकाते थे, कहते थे कि गुरु को सिर राखिए चलिए आज्ञा माहे, कहें कबीरता दास को तीन लोकों भय नाहि, या गुरु गोविंद दोहु खड़े काके लागू पाए, बलिहारी गुरु आपने गोविंद दियो बताए। लेकिन पहले जो गुरु था, आज कोई गुरु से नहीं पूछता है, आज सब रटते हैं ओम श्री गुगलाय नमः। आज कोई गुरु नहीं है किसी का। ये ओपन हाउस में एक बहुत बड़े इंजीनियरिंग कॉलेज में वन वेरी न्यू स्टूडेंट, फ्रेशर, फर्स्ट ईयर स्टूडेंट, she has asked to the director, actually we do not need the classrooms, we have enough resources to learn. पहले कुछ ऐसे दृश्य हो जाया करते थे गुरु के साथ शिष्य के संबंध में। आज आप उन चीजों को सोच भी नहीं सकते। बल्कि आज का जो विद्यार्थी या जो नए टीचर्स हमारे साथ जुड़े होंगे, जिन्होंने किसी गांव में प्राइमरी विद्यालय नहीं देखे होंगे, वो उन चीजों की कल्पना भी नहीं कर सकते दैट व्हाट द पीरियड वाज इन द प्राइमरी एजुकेशन and in the higher education even too. Actually, in the ancient India, विद्या, पढ़ाई, शिक्षा, ज्ञान देवी, माँ बाप देवी की पूजा के साथ शुरू होती थी। कल ही परसों ही 16 फरवरी को हमने वसंत पंचमी का उत्सव पूरे देश में मनाया है और लगभग देश के हर विश्वविद्यालय, महाविद्यालय, IITs, NITs, सभी कॉलेजों में, सभी संस्थानों में सरस्वती पूजा का दिन बड़े उत्साह और आनंद के साथ, श्रद्धा के साथ मनाया जाता है। तो हम पहले विद्या के साथ, शिक्षण के साथ, शिक्षण पद्धति के साथ पूजा जुड़ी हुई थी। पूजा अलग से कुछ नहीं थी, शिक्षण पद्धति के साथ पूजा थी। तो सरस्वती मया दृष्टा वीणा पुस्तक धारिणी हंस वाहिनी स्मायक विद्यादान करो तुम्हें या करो मैं। तो उस पद्धति का कहीं ना कहीं आधुनिक इस शिक्षा पद्धति में कहीं कोई स्थान बचता हुआ नहीं दिख रहा है, और अगर कहीं है भी, then the modern event is very much glamorized. उसको एक उत्साह से मनाने का एक उत्सव और बहुत ही ग्लैमरस बन गया है हमारा हर पारंपरिक ज्ञान का वह पर्व जो हमें कुछ सिखाता था। क्या सिखाता था? येषाम न विद्याम न तपो न दानम ज्ञानम न शीलम न गुणो न धर्म। क्या सिखाता था? ज्ञान, दान, विनम्रता, शील। और आज की शिक्षा पद्धति को मैं कोई दोष नहीं दे रहा हूं, मैं फिर एक बार स्पष्ट कर दूं, लेट मी टेक दिस डिस्क्लेमर दैट आई एम नॉट एट ऑल डूइंग एनीथिंग अगेंस्ट और इन फेवर ऑफ, आई एम जस्ट गिविंग यू द बोथ द ग्लिप्स। ते मर्तिलोकी भूविभार भूता मनुष्य रूपेण मृगाशरन्ति। हमारी शास्त्रीय परंपरा कहती थी कि जिनके अंदर, जिसके भीतर ये गुण विकसित नहीं हुए, वह मनुष्य रूप में इस धरती पर मृग है, पशु है। बहुत सुनने में कठोर लगता है, लेकिन मानव जीवन की संकल्पना के साथ यदि आप देखें, समझें और संपूर्ण विश्व के इस परिदृश्य को जिसमें कि हम बहुत ज्यादा विकसित हैं लेकिन कमजोर कितने हैं, इस पर थोड़ी सी चर्चा हम करें। ऋग्वेद में सबसे पहला श्लोक आता है, अग्निमीले पुरोहितम यज्ञ से देव मृत्युजम होतारम रणधात्मम। यानी अग्नि, द फर्स्ट एट्रीब्यूट ऑफ परमात्मा, अग्नि स्टार्टेड द प्रोसेस ऑफ क्रिएशन। और शिक्षा का हमारा उद्देश्य सदैव कुछ सृजन करना रहा है। हम पहले बच्चे को देव पूजन सिखाया करते थे, शब्द को ब्रह्म मानते थे, शब्द को ब्रह्म की संज्ञा दी जाती थी उस शिक्षण प्रणाली में। और आज की शिक्षण प्रणाली में हम रेन रेन गो अवे वगैरह वगैरह। गुरु का अर्थ कुछ देने वाला, कुछ गंभीर, गुरु जो बड़ा है। पर्वत का भी एक नाम गुरु होता है। गुरु का अर्थ गरिमा से भी है। गरिमा के पद पर आसीन व्यक्ति हमारा गुरु होता था उस शिक्षण प्रणाली में। और आप सभी लोग आधुनिक अभियांत्रिकी विद्यालयों में, विश्वविद्यालयों में, महाविद्यालयों में, प्रौद्योगिकी संस्थानों में हैं। आप मुझसे बेहतर इस बात को कौन समझ सकता है कि आज की शिक्षण पद्धति में गुरु का अर्थ क्या रह गया। उस समय गुरु का अर्थ अंधकार को भगाने वाला था। तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमया, तमस से ज्योति की ओर मार्ग पर जो पथ प्रदर्शक की भूमिका में हमारे जीवन में प्रवेश करे, वह हमारा गुरु। अंधकार एक प्रतीक था। अंधकार क्या? अज्ञानता। ये सारे विश्व को पहले अंधकार ने ही तो ढका हुआ है, और इस अंधकार को दूर करने वाला ज्योतिर्मय हमारे जीवन को, हमारे विचार को, हमारी भावना को, वह पहले गुरु कहलाता। धीरे धीरे कहीं हम शिक्षा के इस मूल तत्व से कहीं दूर हो गए। प्राचीन शिक्षण पद्धति से मॉडर्न एजुकेशन सिस्टम और मॉडर्न पेडागोजी की अगर हम बात करें, सो एवरीथिंग हैज चेंज्ड ड्रेस्टिकली। नाउ इफ यू टॉक the things which we were facing 50 years back or 40 years back or 100 years back, then today's student or a teacher, they won't believe it. Why? Because they have not been knowing the things, knowing the facts, knowing the history, and knowing the actual crux of the education. हमारे लिए आज शिक्षा का अर्थ सिर्फ भौतिक तत्वों को प्राप्त करने के साधन जुटाने के उपाय जानना रह गया है। हम उतने योग्य होना चाहते हैं कि हम इस संसार में जो कुछ है उसको खरीदने के लिए हमारे पास रुपया आ जाए, हमारी योग्यता, हमारी क्षमता, हम इतने कौशलपूर्ण हो जाएं। मैथिली गुप्त ने जब एक जगह कहा, शिक्षे तुम्हारा नाश हो तुम नौकरी के हित लगी, क्योंकि शिक्षा का उद्देश्य नौकरी नहीं था। शिक्षा का उद्देश्य एक ज्ञान का प्रकाश आपको आलोकित करना था। दैट वाज समथिंग टू इनलाइटन यू, टू ड्रैग यू फ्रॉम समवेयर इन द डार्कनेस। In ancient India, education began around the 3rd century BC. उसका एम क्या था? Training for completeness of life, completeness of life, not the money, not the assets, not anything else. Completeness of life. Why? Because Om Purnamida, Purnamidam. We are not individual. We are the part of the whole. The ancient education system and the modern education system, or you can say the ancient pedagogy or the modern pedagogy, the basic difference is that the modern pedagogy takes a teacher or the student or anything as a part, as a portion, as an individual entity, and sometimes independent too. आज का बच्चा कहता है I don't care, मेरा क्या है? Whereas our aim of the education in ancient India was the training for completeness of life, Purnamita, and the molding of character of man and woman for the battle of life. क्या कौन सा बैटल ऑफ लाइफ? जो कृष्ण कहते हैं तस्माद योगी भव अर्जुन, योगी भव। योग किसका? जोड़ किसका? किसी से। दैट योग आज की हमारी पूरी की पूरी शिक्षा प्रणाली, पूरी की पूरी शिक्षा पद्धति इस इंपॉर्टेंट फैक्टर से कहीं दूर है। मैं ये नहीं कह रहा हूं कि वह सब कुछ सही था और आज सब कुछ गलत है। मैंने पहले ही अपना डिस्क्लेमर आपको बताया कि आप किसी के मुझे फेवर में और किसी के विरोध में न माने। ओनली थिंग आई जस्ट वांट टू गिव यू अ थॉट। आई नो you, me, everyone here is a part and parcel of a system. We are running with a system, we are in a system, and we are the system. But we have a liberty to think. We have a liberty to do something better. Why better? क्योंकि जब हमारी आधुनिक शिक्षा पद्धति नहीं थी, ये सब कुछ जो आज आप अपने आसपास देखते हैं, जब ये कुछ भी हमारे पास नहीं था, उस समय हमको सोने की चिड़िया कहा जाता था। और आज हमारे पास सब कुछ है और इस समय हमको क्या कहा जाता है, ये आप थोड़ा सोच के देख सकते हैं। तक्षशिला विश्व का सबसे पहला विश्वविद्यालय, सबसे प्राचीन विश्वविद्यालय, जहां पर कितने डिपार्टमेंट्स हुआ करते थे? अग्नि स्थान, ब्रह्म स्थान, विष्णु स्थान, महेंद्र स्थान, विश्वता विवस्वता स्थान, सोम स्थान, गरुड़ स्थान, कार्तिकेय स्थान। और ये अलग अलग थे। अग्नि स्थान फायर वर्शिप प्रेयर्स के लिए, ब्रह्म स्थान वेद के लिए, विष्णु स्थान टीचिंग राजनीति के लिए, महेंद्र स्थान मिलिट्री सेक्शन था, विवस्वता स्थान एस्ट्रोनॉमी के लिए था, बॉटनी का डिपार्टमेंट सोम स्थान था, गरुड़ स्थान ट्रांसपोर्ट और कन्वीनियंस के लिए था, कार्तिक स्थान टीचिंग मिलिट्री ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस और पेट्रोलिंग के लिए था। हमारी उस समय की शिक्षा प्रणाली के ये चार मूल आधार हुआ करते थे। उस समय के जो वैदिक टेस्ट थे उनको संहिता के रूप में कलेक्शन ऑफ द फोर वेदास, ऋग्वेद, ये सामवेद, यजुर्वेद, अथर्ववेद, ये अलग अलग ज्ञान के भंडार हुआ करते थे। बहुत सारे लोगों ने बहुत कुछ हमारे यहाँ से लेके गए, देश दुनिया में लेके गए, और ये मॉडर्न हिस्ट्री भी बताती है। गुरुकुल परंपरा से हम आज के मॉडर्न क्लासरूम्स तक पहुंचे हैं। उस समय के गुरुकुल्स का ऑब्जेक्टिव था सेल्फ कंट्रोल, डेवलपमेंट ऑफ कैरेक्टर, सोशल अवेयरनेस, integral development of personality, propagation of purity, preservation of knowledge and culture. आचार्यों मृत्यु कहा जाता था। आचार्य को मृत्यु कहा जाता था कि आप जब आचार्य के यहाँ जाएंगे तो आपका दूसरा जन्म होगा। इसीलिए द्विज शब्द जो आता है संस्कृत में, द्विज, ब्राह्मण कोई जातिवादी परंपरा के लिए शब्द नहीं था। द्विज, द्वि जन्म से, दूसरे जन्म से, यानी जब कोई भी व्यक्ति आचार्य के यहाँ जाता है, आचार्य उसके पिछले जन्म की, पिछले संस्कारों की, पिछले कर्मों की, पिछली बुद्धि की, पिछली विचारधारा की मृत्यु बनकर उसके जीवन में आता है और उसका दूसरा जन्म होता है, सेकंड बर्थ, रीबर्थ। दैट इज व्हाई दैट इज द्विज, दूसरा जन्म। वो ब्राह्मण से अर्थ नहीं है। और उस आचार्य के पास जाने के बाद, उस परंपरा से जुड़ जाने के बाद ब्राह्मण हो जाए। निवेदन है आप अपना माइक बंद कर लीजिए और ओके। तो मैं कह रहा था कि आचार्य मृत्यु हमारे यहाँ आता है कि आचार्य के पास जाना मृत्यु के पास जाना है। हमारे एक पुरानी कथा भी है कठोपनिषद नचिकेता और यम संवाद की। आचार्य मृत्यु द्विज जो शब्द है ब्राह्मण शब्द है, यानी जो आचार्य के पास जाएगा वह ब्राह्मण हो जाए। ये कोई जातिवादी परंपरा हमारे देश में कभी नहीं थी, कभी नहीं रही। ये बीच का कुछ अलग का कालखंड है, उस पर प्रोफेसर धनंजय त्रिपाठी जैसे विद्वान बहुत अच्छा प्रकाश डाल सकते हैं कभी किसी अन्य कार्यक्रम में। आज का विषय हम उसे नहीं लेंगे। इसी तरह से हमारे 16 संस्कारों में एक उपनयन संस्कार हुआ करता था। उपनयन, पास जाना, तीर्थ का अर्थ भी एक बहुत दूसरे अर्थों में आता था। तो उस समय की शिक्षा पद्धति के जो चरण थे वे कुछ अलग थे। उनकी भावना, उनकी धारणा, उनका उद्देश्य आज बिल्कुल बदल चुका है। गुरुकुलों को अगर आप आज की भाषा में डिकोड करें तो वो है क्या? आज जो रेजिडेंशियल हो गया वो उस समय का गुरुकुल था। आचार्य विश्वामित्र राम लक्ष्मण को लेके आए। शांदीपनी के आश्रम में कृष्ण और सुदामा जैसे बहुत से लोग पढ़े। बड़े बड़े राजा महाराजाओं के बालक राजकुमार उसी गुरुकुल में सबके साथ पढ़ते थे। फिर एक कालखंड में कुछ अंतर आया कि राजकुमारों के गुरुकुल अलग हुए, वो एक अलग चीज। लेकिन व्यवस्था वही थी कि राजसी महलों की सुख सुविधाओं को छोड़ के आप तपस्या करने की भांति गुरुकुल में गुरु के आश्रम में जाएं। उस समय साधना शिक्षा के साथ जुड़ी हुई थी। शिक्षा पद्धति का मूल मर्म साधना था और आज की शिक्षा पद्धति का मूल साधन है। कितने ज्यादा से ज्यादा साधन आज का विद्यार्थी मांगता है, आज का क्लासरूम मांगता है। You find sometimes when you see the feedbacks and the demands of a student in my IIT, when I see what they need actually when they just enter into the gate and they ask for the things in hostel and the classrooms. So sometimes we feel in meetings we call, actually they want the not as a classroom, they don't want a hostel room, actually they want a 5-star room in hostel, and sometimes Google's executive boardroom in their classroom. This is the high level of their expectations. Whereas मैंने दोनों शब्द आपको बताए, हमारी शिक्षा पद्धति का मूल साधना था। आज का सारा कारोबार साधन पर आके टिक गया। मेडिटेशन, योगा, आसन, आज इन चीजों की आप उम्मीद भी नहीं कर सकते किसी बच्चे से कि वो ये कुछ करेगा। हालांकि नई शिक्षा पद्धति में, नए माहौल में कोशिश ये की जा रही है इंडक्शन प्रोग्राम्स के मार्फत और बहुत सी चीज़ों के मार्फत, जो जब समझ में हमें आने लगा है दैट वी हैव लॉस्ट मैनी थिंग्स, वी हैव achieved many physical assets, but we have lost our child, we have lost our good citizens, we have lost many other things. Then there is a relook also for the ancient education system, and the modern NEP 2020 if you have gone through few aspects, or if you have gone through the whole draft of that, you will find, you may have noticed that there is some hope, there is a keen interest to have a balance between the ancient and the modern. उस समय की हमारी शिक्षा पद्धति का उद्देश्य था व्यक्ति के 7 चक्रों का जागरण करना। यह शरीर ब्रह्मांड का एक हिस्सा, यथा पिंडे तथा ब्रह्मांडे। हम महासागर की एक बूंद के रूप में हमारा अस्तित्व है। वेराज आज की शिक्षा पद्धति बच्चे को उसके मूल अस्तित्व से ज्यादा दूर ले जाती है। उस समय हम 7 चक्रों के जागरण से इस स्व से ब्रह्म तक की यात्रा को शिक्षा का उद्देश्य देखते हैं। और आज who can tell you better than you? वेदांतिक प्रैक्टिस के ये 3 चरण उस समय के हैं। श्रवण है, मनन है, निध्यासन है। श्रवण यानी कि सत्य को सुन, मनन उस पर चिंतन कर, और निध्यासन यानी कि जो आप सुने, जिसको आपने मनन किया, अब आप उसको कैसे जीते हैं जीवन। तो जो नॉलेज थी उस समय श्रुति परंपरा थी। श्रुति यानी कि जो आपने सुना है। अगर आज आप उसको कहें टेक्निकली, तो कोविड एरा में लगभग हम मॉडर्न गुरुकुल की स्थिति में आ गए हैं। अब हमारे स्टूडेंट्स हमारे सामने नहीं है, और वो जो कुछ भी आप उनको सिखा रहे हैं, आप दूर से ही सिखा रहे हैं, वो सुन रहे हैं। उस समय की शिक्षा पद्धति 3 पिलर्स के ऊपर टिकी थी। धर्म, अर्थ, काम, मोक्ष। 4 उसके चरण, 4 उसके कर्म थे। चतुष्पदी उसको कहते हैं, 4 पुरुषार्थ कहे जाते हैं। ये 4 जीवन के लक्ष्य निर्धारित थे, और आज लक्ष्य निर्धारित है कि ये CS ब्रांच मिल जाए, अमेरिका चला जाए, गूगल में मिल जाए, IBM में मिल जाए। बहुत बहुत दुर्भाग्यशाली होगा तो देश की किसी कंपनी में रह जाए। हम कहां से कहां पहुंचे हैं, ये थोड़ा सोचने की बात है। इग्नोरेंस इज द पॉसिबिलिटी। आज की इस मॉडर्न पेडागोजी की जब मैं बात आपसे कर रहा हूं, तो आप लोग भी इसको महसूस करते होंगे अपने क्लासरूम्स में, व्हेन यू डील विद ए फ्रेशर हु कम्स आफ्टर पासिंग ऑफ 12th or sometimes after graduation in the master's program. Actually, he or she, the student, is coming with overfilling position. He is not coming to learn something. He is coming to you to earn something. He just wanted to know, he or she, the student just wanted to know the ways, the techniques, the degree, the paper, which can fly him or her from here to no else. न उसको अपने संस्थान से कोई मतलब है, न अपने टीचर से कोई मतलब है, न उसे उस भूमि से कोई मतलब है, न उसे अपने माँ बाप से मतलब है, न देश से मतलब है, न मातृभूमि से मतलब है। उसे सिर्फ और सिर्फ, अगर कोई एक्सेप्शन है, if there is an exception, then exception is also a proof of the law, proof of the claim which I am doing. तो इस दौर में हम कहां से कहां पहुंचे हैं, ये थोड़ा सा रुक के हमें कभी सोचना तो होगा। वो पहले से ही इतना ज्ञान लेके आया हुआ है कि in the classroom he or she not giving at all any attention to you. Attendance is the compulsory, so he or she is in the class, maybe. Otherwise, no interest to hear you. He or she, the student has the access to all the knowledge base which you have, which I have. Ignorance अगर उसके अंदर होती तब वो enlightened होता. Ignorance is the threshold for the enlightenment. Enlightenment means that you are lit from inside. Apo deepo bhavo. आप अपने दीपक स्वयं बन जाए, स्वयं आलोकित हो जाए. एक प्रश्न मैं छोड़ता हूं हमेशा इस तरह की बात जब कहीं करने का मुझे मौका मिलता है कि इतना सब पाने के बाद भी क्या ये मॉडर्न पेडागोजी, मॉडर्न एजुकेशन सिस्टम, मॉडर्न फिजिकल असेट्स अर्निंग सिस्टम हमारे युवाओं को आनंदित कर पाया? क्या वे खुश हैं? क्या उनके चेहरे तब से चमकते हैं? प्रश्न है विचार करने का. इग्नोरेंस इज वंडरफुल पॉसिबिलिटी, बता दिया. इसके ऊपर बात हो गई छोटी सी. क्यों इग्नोरेंस के साथ ज्ञान जुड़ा है और ज्ञान के साथ उसका उद्देश्य जुड़ा है. इससे पहले यहां पर जो इनलाइटमेंट है वो क्यों है? हम मॉडर्न युग में कहां से पहुंचे? हम वसुदैवम कुटुंबकम के वंशज हैं और आज की सारी शिक्षा दुनिया को एक बाजार मानती है. दोनों में बहुत बड़ा अंतर, बहुत बड़ा अंतर.
325 विद्यार्थी में
हम परिवार की बात करते हैं, परिवार की बात करते थे और आज बाजार की बात होती है. यह एक अंतर हमको समझना ही होगा. मैं अंग्रेजी का बिल्कुल विरोधी नहीं हूं, लेकिन यह वो एक सीन है जहां से हमें ये भ्रम दिया गया कि हमको अंग्रेजों ने पढ़ाया है, अंग्रेजी ने पढ़ाया है. मैं इस भ्रम का विरोधी हूं. हालांकि उन्होंने मॉडर्न एजुकेशन में बहुत कुछ किया जिसको कि हम आज मॉडर्न कहते हैं. मैं मानता हूं, उनका धन्यवाद देता हूं. लेकिन मेरा प्रश्न वही रहता है फिर कि यदि इस मॉडर्न का मैं धन्यवाद दूं तो वह दौर क्या था जब घर घर में सोना होता था, सोने की चिड़िया हमको कहा जाता था. हमारे यहाँ का कोई भूखा और गरीब नहीं था, कोई भिखारी नहीं था, अन्न के भंडार भरे रहते थे. राजा महाराजा चक्रवर्ती सम्राट भी अष्टावक्र ऋषियों के आश्रम में जाकर रहते थे. फिर वह दौर क्या था? अगर सब कुछ मॉडर्न में ही अच्छा था तो हम उस समय इतने प्रतिभा संपन्न, धन संपन्न, अर्थ संपन्न, 10,000 वर्षों का इतिहास अगर हम पिछला उठा के देख लें तो भारतवर्ष ने इतनी संपदा, इतनी शक्तियों के बावजूद भी कभी किसी की 1 इंच भूमि के ऊपर नजर नहीं डाली. परदारेशु मातृवत लोष्टवत परदा. हमारे वो संस्कार थे उस शिक्षा पद्धति के. और आज गला काट प्रतियोगिता है, प्रतिस्पर्धा है. एक कमरे में साथ रहने वाले बच्चे भी एक दूसरे के साथ छल करते हैं. गला काट प्रतियोगिता. संस्कृत का मैं बहुत पक्षधर हूं और इस NEP 2020 में संस्कृत और मातृभाषाओं को बहुत अच्छा महत्व दिया गया है. मुझसे पहले आदरणीय प्रोफेसर गोविल सर, हमारे निदेशक महोदय भी बता रहे थे कि मातृभाषाओं में काफी ध्यान दिया जाने की आवश्यकता है। बच्चे मातृभाषा के माध्यम से अपनी बातों को बहुत अच्छी तरह जल्दी समझ पाते हैं। प्रोफेसर एस.एन. बोस ने अपनी लैब में एक बच्चे से कहा कि भाई ये बच्चा गांव से आया है, अपने सीनियर को कहा कि जरा इसको ये चीज़ बांग्ला में समझा दो, फिजिक्स का ये प्रैक्टिकल। थोड़ी देर बाद वो लौट के आया, बोला नो सर, एक्चुअली ही इज नॉट गेटिंग इट, और मुझे बांग्ला इतनी अच्छी नहीं आती कि मैं इसको समझा पाऊँ, जबकि वो उनकी मातृभाषा बांग्ला थी। Then Professor Bose replied him, no, I don't accept your argument. Actually, this is not true that you do not know Bangla. Actually, you do not know physics. If you cannot explain your experiment in your mother tongue, actually you do not know the concept of that, basic concept. तो मातृभाषाओं को और हिंदी को इस नई शिक्षा नीति में महत्व मिल रहा है। ये वुड्स डिस्पैच इस पूरी की पूरी पेडागोजी को एक से दूसरे सेगमेंट में शिफ्टिंग का बहुत बड़ा मैं इसको एक फैक्टर मानता हूँ। एंशिएंट एजुकेशन एंड मॉडर्न एजुकेशन में एक सिस्टम पहले ये था, उसके बाद ये थोड़ा सा और आगे बढ़ा, एंड नाउ देयर इज नो सच सिस्टम। नाउ देयर इज ए यूएन अकेडमी, देयर इज द टॉपर, देयर आर वेजुज लाइक दैट. So we have modified all definitions. The pedagogy is also redefined. We talk the pedagogy also in the modern terms. The scaling has been different. We have changed our instruments. If we go back, this was the one learning system with the happiness. And today there is a learning with 7 inches, 8 inches screen. There is a togetherness, there is the individuality. पहले ज्ञान था, आज क्या है, थोड़ा सोचना तो है। पहले मित्र थे, आज कॉम्पिटिटर है। This is not the punishment. Actually, this is the discipline. And all those who are in Sikkim, मैं जब गया था तो मुझे प्रोफेसर त्रिपाठी सर ने बहुत सी ऐसी जगह में गया था जहाँ के बहुत कुछ ऐसा देखने को मिला जो जीवन में कभी सोचा भी नहीं था। This is actually they are the in the process of discipline. This is not the punishment. Today this is the punishment. Keep your eyes closed. उस समय डिस्कशंस होते थे, डिस्कोर्सेज होते, शास्त्रार्थ होते थे, एक दूसरे के मत का सम्मान होता था। आज भी होता है, लेकिन शायद उनसे निकलता क्या है, दैट इज वी हैव टू थिंक। आजकल कंपटीशन होते हैं, शास्त्रार्थ होते थे, आज कंपटीशन होते हैं, और इस तरह के कंपटीशंस भी होते हैं। मैं नहीं जानता ये कहां से आए, who has planned it, from where we are heading to what goal. Certainly we have to think as a whole. What we are creating, what is our output, what type of the citizens we are throwing in the war of the life. Again, I put my disclaimer on. I am not in favor of anything. I am not opposing anything. I am just showing you something. I am just giving you few points to think over. आज शस्त्र गान के समय खड़ा होना चाहिए कि नहीं? राष्ट्र कहीं पीछे छूट गया है। वयम राष्ट्र, मैं राष्ट्र हूं, नहीं, अब तो राष्ट्र शब्द ही लोग कहना भूल गए। बहुत से लोगों ने ज्ञान और सत्य और प्रज्ञा की खोज में विदेशों से हमारे देश की ओर रुख किया, और आज की जो स्थिति है वो ये, बहुत सी नई चीजें आज की मॉडर्न एजुकेशन सिस्टम और पेडागोजी के साथ जुड़ी हुई हैं। नेचुरली यू ऑल मे बी नोइंग मोस्ट ऑफ देम। NMEICT है, EPG पाठशाला, अध्ययन, शोध गंगा, NDLI. I request to all of you to register on our NDLI portal. ये सब चीजें शिक्षा मंत्रालय, AICTE और हमारी सपोर्टिंग कोलैबोरेटिव बॉडीज के साथ बहुत से हमारे रिफॉर्म्स हैं, बहुत सारे इनिशिएटिव्स हैं। आप सब उनसे जुड़ें, उनसे उन सूचनाओं को अपनी क्लासरूम में भी या अपने नोटिस बोर्ड्स में भी या जहाँ भी संभव हो दें। मैं एक बाद में कभी इस पर एक बात अलग से रखूंगा कि शिक्षा मंत्रालय की वेबसाइट के ऊपर जितने प्रोग्राम, जितने इनिशिएटिव्स, जितनी सूचनाएं हैं, हमारे इस पूरे शिक्षा उपक्रम से जुड़े हुए ऑल स्टेक होल्डर्स आर not aware of them. This is really, we are lacking somewhere. So I would request all of you to please apprise yourself with those informations. Education should not be about molding children. आज भी AICT ने एक बहुत अच्छा प्रोग्राम श्री श्री रविशंकर जी के साथ सुबह 10:30 से 11:30 का किया है। आई डो नॉट नो आप लोग उसमें कोई थे, क्योंकि शायद आप लोग इस प्रोग्राम में थे। दैट इज अवेलेबल ऑन द यूट्यूब। यू ऑल, आई रिक्वेस्ट यू ऑल शुड हियर दैट प्रोग्राम, वॉच दैट प्रोग्राम ऑन यूट्यूब विद श्री श्री रविशंकर। AICT ने किया था। तो मैं इसके साथ अपने सभी आप साथियों को, मेरे बहुत ही आदरणीय प्रोफेसर गोविल साहब को, डायरेक्टर NIT सिक्किम, AICT डायरेक्टर प्रोफेसर सहस्त्र बुद्धे जी, आप इस कार्यक्रम के संयोजक प्रोफेसर धनंजय त्रिपाठी, प्रोफेसर संग्राम राय, के अग्रवाल जी, प्रोफेसर यारागत्ती, प्रोफेसर रैना, प्रोफेसर पटनायक, प्रोफेसर JP सिंगल, प्रोफेसर चंद्रशेखर, कर्नल वेंकट, कर्नल श्रीनाथ, प्रोफेसर प्रत्यय कुलिया, प्रोफेसर बर्मन, प्रोफेसर रंजन बशक, और आप उनकी टीम, जिन लोगों ने इसको प्लान किया है, और आप सभी प्रतिभागी जो इस कार्यक्रम में जुड़े, जिन्होंने मुझे ये मौका दिया कि मैं आपके साथ कुछ अपनी बात कह पाऊँ, साझा कर पाऊँ। मैं फिर ये बता दूं कि मैंने कोई बहुत ज़्यादा एकेडमिकली उस तरह की बात आपसे नहीं की है, और वो मेरा उद्देश्य भी नहीं था कि मैं उस तरह की कोई बात आपसे करूं। मेरा उद्देश्य आपके साथ कुछ दूसरी तरह की बात करने का था। मैं समझता हूं कि मैंने उन बातों को आपसे साझा किया, और मुझे अपनी फीडबैक की भी कोई बहुत ज़्यादा चिंता नहीं है कि मेरा क्या होगा। मुझे तो प्रोफेसर धनंजय त्रिपाठी भाई, संग्राम जी, प्रोफेसर गोविल सर ये बता देंगे कि मेरी बातचीत सुनने लायक थी या नहीं थी। वो मेरे लिए इनका बहुत बड़ा उपहार है मेरे लिए कि ये मुझे इस इतने महत्वपूर्ण प्रोग्राम में ये अवसर दिया। मैं बहुत बहुत हार्दिक आभार व्यक्त करता हूँ प्रोफेसर गोविल सर का, त्रिपाठी सर का और संग्राम सर का। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद, और आप सबका जिन्होंने मुझे सुना, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। धनंजय आवाज नहीं आ रही है, धनंजय जी आवाज नहीं आ रही है।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद भैया. पार्टिसिपेंट्स, इफ देयर इज एनी क्वेश्चन, आप वो सवाल चैट बॉक्स में लिख सकते हैं या अपने आप को अनम्यूट करके सीधे पूछ सकते हैं. तो अगर कोई सवाल है तो अगले 5 मिनट आप वो सवाल पूछ सकते हैं. डॉक्टर रावत is with us for next 5 minutes. So if you have any question, you can write it down in the chat box, or you can directly unmute yourself. और वो सवाल आप पूछ सकते हैं chat box. There are a lot of comments. There are a lot of positive comments. Great session, wonderful session, thought-provoking lecture. There is no question, I believe. So, all right. So, on the behalf of the entire family of National Institute of Technology, Sikkim, it's my privilege to extend the vote of thanks to our speaker, Dr. Rajiv Kumar Rawat. Thank you so much, sir, that you spare your valuable time and you have talked on a very important and significant topic today. We look forward for more such sessions in future and more healthier collaboration with IIT Kharagpur. Thank you so much.
बहुत धन्यवाद प्रोफेसर त्रिपाठी सर, संग्राम सर, और अनुपस्थिति में डायरेक्टर साहब को मेरा प्रणाम. और मैं बहुत आभारी हूँ एनआईटी सिक्किम का, जिसने मुझे इस अवसर प्रदान किया, और अपने संस्थान का, जिसकी वजह से मुझे ये अवसर मिला है. मैं आप सभी का बहुत बहुत हार्दिक आभार व्यक्त करता हूँ, सभी प्रतिभागियों का जिन्होंने मुझे सुना. बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. आगे भी यदि कोई प्रश्न इस रूप में आपके मन में आता है तो ये डिस्कशन, ये विमर्श चलते रहना चाहिए, क्योंकि हमारी कोशिश जो है वो कॉमन है, हमारी चिंताएं साझा हैं, और हम इस विषय में आगे भी कभी बात करने के लिए सदैव उपलब्ध रहेंगे. बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद.
Uh, 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 Participants will begin the session in a few minutes. The speaker has joined us. Sir, we are waiting for our director, sir. Sir will be joining us in a few minutes, and then we'll start the next session. Professor, the next speaker, Professor Karunesh Shukla, has already joined us. Sir, please allow us few minutes. Our director, sir, will join us in a moment, and will introduce, the speakers to the next session thereafter. Sir.
Oh,
Glad to see you online.
ah, तो फिर 17 मार्च को मिलेंगे फिजिकली।
अरे भाई 17 मार्च को चलिए, गाली खाने के लिए तैयार रहिए।
कह रहे हैं दोनों एक साथ ही चलेंगे, है ना?
हम दोनों अगल बगल बैठ के सर झुका के बैठे रहेंगे, गाली खाएंगे और क्या
और
करेंगे।
क्या कर सकते हो आप?
हम वही, हमारी टीम लगी हुई है, डाटा तैयार कर रही
हम
है।
कर रहे हो। चलिए, है ना, शुरू करते हैं।
ओके ओके ओके।
So, my dear participants, I hope you are ready for the last session of the day. We have our honorable director sir with us, and Professor Karunesh Kumar Shukla ji, the director NIT Jamshedpur, as an expert for this session. So now I request my colleague Dr. Dhananjay Tripathi to introduce our expert.
Sangram. Dear, we have a very eminent and famous speaker today for this session. Professor Karunesh Kumar Shukla is presently the director of National Institute of Technology, Jamshedpur. He earned his BE degree from IIMEC, Gorakhpur University, in 1986, and his ME from MNREC, Allahabad University, in 1988. He completed his Ph.D. from Indian Institute of Technology, Delhi, in 2001. He was a visiting research fellow, Mechanical and Computer Aided Engineering Department, Feng Xia University, Taichung, Taiwan, during November 2002 to March 2003, and in June 2004. He was also a research scholar, Applied Mechanics Department at IIT Delhi from July 1997 to 2000. Professor Shukla specializes in areas such as composite plates and cells, smart structures, retrofitting and strengthening of RCC structures, computational mechanics, stability, and dynamics of structures, multi-scale composites. He has also authored a textbook, An Introduction to Strength of Materials. Dr. Shukla handled several sponsored research projects to his credit. Professor Shukla has also completed many consultancy projects of public and private sectors. So far, Dr. Shukla has produced 13 PhDs and presently guiding 2 in spite of his busy schedule in the administration as a director of National Institute of Technology, Jamshedpur. He has authored more than 70 research papers in peer-reviewed journals. Apart from being a professor, Dr. Shukla was assigned many additional duties in which he has conducted himself at institutional and national level. For his immense contribution in the field of engineering, Dr. Shukla has been awarded and honored with many awards. He was cited in Marcus World's Who's Who in Science and Engineering in the year 2003, 2005, 2006, and 2007. His name was included in the reference books by the International Biological Center, Cambridge, England. As leading scientist of the member of International Editorial Board of many national and international journals, he has authored, edited, and reviewed many textbooks and published many book chapters. Above all, Professor Shukla includes Karunesh in his name, meaning compassion. Karunesh is the one who is compassionate, having high emotional intellect, but lives a very simple life. With a small, brief introduction, now I would request the Honorable Director NIT Jamshedpur to kindly interact with the participants and deliver his talk. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Tripathi, for introducing me nicely, and I place my sincere thanks to my good friend Professor MC Gobil, Director NIT Sikkim, for giving me this opportunity to interact with the audience. I hope mostly the faculty members from Sikkim and other places. And at the outset, I would also like to place my thank to my colleague, Dr. C.M. Rao, who on my behalf made my prepared my brief CV and added the meaning of Karunesh there. So I place my sincere thank to Dr. Rao also. So let's begin, friends, on this topic, which faculty development program is going on in NIT Sikkim on strategies in modern pedagogy. So I will talk, in fact, I could not give you the topic earlier due to some of my preoccupation. So I thought that I will talk straightway on pedagogy, being a teacher since more than 32 years. So I chalked out certain points, and that too while making these points, again, Dr. Rao and Dr. B.B. Jha from Jamshedpur, they helped me in preparing my talk. So I gave, in fact, I am the only presenter, they are the brain behind it. So please accept the recognition of Dr. B.B. Jha and Dr. C.M. Rao in preparing my talk. So friends, let us go straightway to pedagogy. I coined this term modern pedagogy since this was in your title of the faculty development program. So I have made this presentation. First we'll discuss, although I have seen the different speakers, they have talked about the different aspects of pedagogy and instructional skills and so on. Maybe some of the portions may be repetitive, but I have tried to make in my own way. So what I will do it, I will first go through the pedagogical things, then the role of the teacher and what we require. I try to put some slides, the instructional things or pedagogical things in terms of the new educational policy. So before I proceed to that, this is the first slide which I wish to talk to all of you. And if you go through these 4 quotes, then of course there is nothing left in pedagogical things. All of you know, are the expert of your subjects, you can do it. So first of all, I appeal to all of you, wherever you are working, please give your best to the institute wherever you are working and take the best from the institute. This is the first and fundamental things for a faculty members whosoever is involved in pedagogical thing. That whatever the best, any institutions may have certain positive attributes, certain negative attributes. So we have to think about the positive things of the institute and we have to take the clue from that. And what we try to give, we have to give our best to the institute. This is what Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore, when Professor Chaturvedi from Varanasi went to Viswabharati University to join as a vice chancellor, this I tried to put this quote from Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore. He told to Professor Chaturvedi that you give, जो आपका सर्वोत्तम है वो संस्थान को दे और जो संस्थान का सर्वोत्तम है आप ले. The second things I tried to put in this perspective is that whatever we are doing, this contributes for the positive thing. It's said that the raindrops may be little in shape and size, but their continuous fall makes a river overflow. A small, consistent effort make massive changes. So as a faculty members or as a student, we have to put our best foot forward and we have to make our contribution, whatever small it may be. It doesn't matter. Suppose you are developing a course. If you have developed a new course curriculum or new subject even itself, there's some, or you have developed some instructional material, it is a contribution. Or you are doing certain research, whatsoever the amount may be, it's a contribution to the exchequer of your institute. The third message I would like to convey before I proceed to some routine things, that get up every day with a positive mission. We die every day and we awake every day. Okay, in the night we go to sleep, more or less we die, and in the morning we awake and we start with a new day. So what should be the motto? We have to start the day with a positive mission that today I have to do this thing, I have to contribute something today positively to the system wherever I am working. And finally, I call upon all of you with this saying that it's very easy to give example, but it's very difficult to become an example. So I appeal all the faculty members and the students that you do such exemplary work that you are cited, you are quoted. You have to become an example. You have to become a role model. You have to become a leader for others. If you go for the literal meaning of pedagogy, then it's means the leader who educates the child. If you want to define it, it's art, science, or you can say profession of teaching. Precisely, it refers to the method how teachers teach, the theory and the practical process, how they evolve their strategies in practice of teaching. It's exploration of effective teaching and learning strategies. It relies heavily on educational psychology. You have to understand the psychology of the students also, which encompasses scientific theories of learning and to some extent on the philosophy of education. And more importantly, the pedagogy, if you see in true meaning, it considers the aims and value of education from a philosophical perspective. Why we are instructing some students? So that he is grown in a matured way, and he can deliver to the society what is intended for the society. Another term we coin with relation to the pedagogy is the andragogy. If you go for the literal meaning, andragogy means adult leading. So adult teaching to the adults. Some of the researchers, some of the educational researchers, they use this term andragogy when they teach to the teaching to the post-secondary skill education. Again, this is the art, science, and profession of teaching adults. So adults teaching can be coined as andragogy. I try to put this term, what is teaching? Teaching is a process intended for learning by inducing a behavioral change in the taught. So whatever we are teaching, whatever the subjects we are teaching, it doesn't matter. After completing the course, if there is some visible change in the taught or in the disciples or in the students, then our teaching is successful. We could do it. So mostly you can say the teaching means that we inculcate interest of the students in the subjects which you are teaching. And as a teacher, if we have been successful in creating interest in the students for the subjects which we are teaching, then we have won. It's an art of communicating a message with impact on the students. To enhance and facilitate modern teaching and instructional methods and techniques in teaching learning process. Teaching requires improvisation, spontaneity, handling with form, style, pace, rhythm, so on. If you talk about the effective teachers, we can say either the effective teachers are made or effective teachers are born. So there are several examples of the effective teacher who are born as a quality teachers. But most of us, if you consider by design or by certain means, we are into this profession. So we can call that we are the teachers who are made as a teacher. So we have to transform ourselves as an effective teacher. How can we do it? I will talk it. You have to think beyond knowledge of self, knowledge of why you are teaching. So as a teacher, we have to ask this question, why we are teaching. And if you want to know this answer, then you have to unpack your deeply held assumptions. For these things, you have to understand what is education. You have to understand the nature of the learner. You have to understand the subjects which you are teaching. This is very important. and you have to understand or to know the roles of schools and colleges in society. What are the roles of schools and colleges in the society? If you see in the broader perspective, then you can correlate with your subjects, that if you are teaching the particular subject to the student, to any group of people, what will be its impact on the society? Once you are through to this, then you will understand the subjects and you will try to teach in that way. And while doing this, you have to decipher the nature of the learner also, the students. Then only you can complete the education. I have tried to put some good teachers through history. If you see in Greece, Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, sophists. If you go to the Rome, Quintilian. If you go to Europe, Erasmus, Comines, Montessori. And in India, we have the inverse of examples. Lord Krishna is considered to be the best teacher. Because if you go through Bhagavad Gita, through these 18 chapters, he tries to tell Arjun, through Arjun to others, why we are here on this earth. And Arjun, who was afraid of going to the battlefield, he motivates through certain examples, through experiments, through certain principles. And Mahabharata was there, and ultimately the evils were defeated. So that is the example. So Lord Krishna, we consider Lord Rama, he taught us also the society, how to behave, what should be the nature of, what should be the duty of a son, of a king, of a saint, and all those things. Ved Vyasa, Aryabhatta, Gautam Buddha, he preached so many things, Guru Nanak, Sant Kabir. Recently, you can talk about Swami Ramakrishna, Swami Vivekanand, Ramanujan, and so on. You can add even our late principal, Dr. APJ Kalam also. So there are so many more. So we Indians, we have the plethora of examples of great teachers, starting from Lord Krishna to till date. The role of the teacher, if you talk about, which we were talking about, it uses various methods and techniques to teach, train reflective and to totality active word, develop an awareness and appreciation of the knowledge, based teaching, know how, the teacher must know how to adopt instructions to meet the needs of all learners. Because in a group of class, we have different, you can say, if you draw a curve, you have a normal curve or bell-shaped distribution where you have a very good students also, you have the average students also, you have the poor students also. If you draw a normal curve, then you have to teach to all who are covered with this normal shape or bell-shaped curve. There may be very good students who can understand very easily, but we have to take care of those students who are not that good in understanding. So we can succeed only when we adopt our instructions in such a way that we can reach to each and every student of the class. And mostly what I said in earlier also, just in my previous slide, we have to train the students to become them independent and self-regulated learners. We have to teach the students to learn. And once, how can we do it? By creating interest of the students in the subjects. If you do it, then you are successful and you have become a good teacher. That should be the role of a teacher. And you can see that the instructional material, whatever you are giving to the students, that is then successful. Otherwise, it's a routine exercise. Successful teacher, if you classify in terms of the William Arthur Ward, the mediocre teacher tells, the good teacher explains, the superior teacher demonstrates, and the great teacher inspires. So in modern day pedagogy, the demand is that we have to inspire our student to do something extraordinary. And we have with us the example of Lord Krishna, who inspired Arjuna to do something exemplary. And he succeeded in getting done by Arjuna. So that's what we have to do it. So my dear friends, not only we have to become superior teacher, but we have to become a great teacher. And if we are inspiring a class of students to do something, and if you talk in terms of the engineering education, our role is not to teach the students just the subject matter and go away, to evaluate and award some grades and the student passes out. That's not the role. We have to train in such a way that they should not become job seeker, they become job providers. And this is the need of the country. Then only the engineering education or technological education will be meaningful. Otherwise, we are teaching, the students are cramming, they are omitting in the examinations, and we are evaluating and giving some grades, and our role is finished. That should not be the case. We have to inspire the students to do something by way of teaching the fundamental principles, by the way of explaining in the class, by way of demonstrating in the laboratory, and to tell them that if you do something, then you can do something new. And I say normally to each and every student of the class that all of you have to design at least an experiment, whatever you think of. And we are going to adopt this in our curriculum also. If I talk about learning by doing, in some of the slides later on I will show you that we will put some lab to the students, that you conceive an idea, try to translate your idea into reality. We'll provide you certain objects. You do it. You go to your lab, that will be whatever you do it. Whatever you do it, you translate it into reality, you design, you do the calculations, you make it, manufacture it, we can help you. And ultimately, you have to come to show some prototype or some product that is meaningful or that is applicable to some society, so that we can improve. Effective teachers, the attributes of the effective teachers, personal qualities, democratic classroom. This is very important. That full democracy has to be there in the classroom. Students should not be afraid of you in raising the questions, in raising their doubts, in asking the questions. Most of the time I have seen the teacher goes to the class, he started teaching, and this becomes more or less a monologue. Please establish a dialogue with the students. It should not be a monologue. Please establish a dialogue with the students. And how can you establish the dialogue? If you are democratic in class, if you have a positive personality, whatever the students are raising the questions, you take with the positive frame of mind. And while doing this one, you have to become a stimulant. You have to stimulate the students also to ask questions. This is the real problem. I've seen even in NITs, I take some courses, whenever I am free, I go and teach them. I found that mostly the students are afraid of asking the questions. So we have to stimulate them to ask the questions, so that then only we can know what creative thinkings they have. They can ask some silly questions. The students can ask some silly questions, some irrelevant questions, but we have to encourage them. And whatever the questions they ask, we should not let them know that this question is ridiculous. ये कहा जाता है, अगर हम हिंदी में बताएं, एक अच्छा गुरु जो गुरु दो तरह के होते हैं, एक जो आपकी गलतियों को बता के उसको सुधारता है, the one who realizes you that you are committing mistake and then gives you the solution, tries to solve that mistake. But the real guru is one जो आपकी गलतियों को, आपकी कमियों को बिना बताए सुधार देता है. The one who removes your shortcomings without letting you know that where you have faltered. This will give what? This will not develop a negative, or you can say the students will be encouraged if you don't let him know that he's asking some ridiculous question or some wrong questions. And you have to act as a problem solver. You have to solve the problems of the students, whatever the problems they are asking. We have to tell them the how to solve this problem. I tell you a simple story which I faced while teaching in Allahabad. I was teaching in my early days engineering mechanics to first year students. One of the students in electronics engineering, she stood up. I was teaching kinematics or kinetics, I don't remember. She stood up and said that there is a photo frame and it is there is a it is hanged with the wall with two ropes making a triangle. You can understand it. And if the one side of the rope is broken, then what will be the acceleration of the photo frame? I just took a minute, composed myself, and answered the question to the students. I didn't say why you are asking this question. There is no numerical value and nothing else. I have to give the concept to the students and I have to make him satisfied. What you have to do is discuss with other faculties and prepare a questionnaire about the essential characteristics of the effective teacher for the 21st century. It's most important that the teacher has high levels of knowledge, the subjects which he is teaching to the students. He has to be skillful. He must have positive dispositions, values, attitudes. Positive attitude, positive values. Because most of the time, the teachers are the role model for the society. So believe me, my friends, whatever we do, this is very keenly observed by the students. And that is very true to up to 10+2 standards. Because the teachers at the primary level and thereafter up to 10 or 10+2 standard are the role model for their kids. Even in graduate institutions also, if we are doing some silly things, it doesn't go unnoticed and it has a negative impact. The best teaching practices, you have to first induct the student for the course. Before starting to teach straightway, you have to introduce the topic, the importance of the topic, relevance of the topic, why it is being taught to the student. After induction of the subject course, each and every topic you have to tell the students why it is important. Then you have to organize the topic, the flow of your delivery should be organized. And by certain examples, you have to reinforce the teaching such that it becomes stimulants. And finally, you have to summarize the things before you leave the class. And this should be assisted by assignments. I tell you another story which I like most in pedagogy. While I was doing Ph.D. at IIT Delhi, I was doing a course on computational methods. I remember the teacher still, Professor Krishnan. At the end of the class, every day, he used to give us that you have to write, the subject was mathematical, computational methods. You have to write a summary of half a page. And in the next class, he asked the students, any one of the students, at least 5-6 students, that you read the summary. And he used to comment on the summary that this is good or bad, or you have understood the subject or not. All of you know who have done PhDs or masters, you know that while writing the thesis, in the beginning of your thesis, you write the preface or summary. And while writing the summary or preface, you can write only when you have understood whole subject, whole thesis. Then you have to write those 100 or 150 pages in 2 to 3 pages. That's how you write your summary of your research paper also. In few words, say 200 or 300 words. So while writing those summaries, we used to go as a students, we used to go to the our hostel, and in the night we used to study that topic, whatever has been taught in the class, from the notebook, from the different textbooks. And after going through these, we write summary. So see, what was the message? That the same day we studied the subject and the doubts were clear. Whatever the doubts were remained, next day while reading the summary, that was cleared by the faculty. And after that, the last thing in the teaching practice should be to design good assignments. Mostly I have seen as an academic administrator that the faculty members, they take the example or some theory, some things from the textbook and straightway give as the assignments. So which does not inculcate the habit of learning or reading different textbooks in the students. They go to the library, take a book and solve the problems or write the assignments. It should not be the case. You have to put the assignments in such a way that students are forced to think over the problem. They are forced to study different books while solving the assignments. So if you do these 6 steps, whatever the pedagogy you call, whatever the instructional tools you do, you will be successful in doing this one. So if you, in a graphical pictorial representation, if you see the teaching process, you have to plan. Whatever you have planned, you have to implement. Once you have implemented in the class by different steps, you have to evaluate the students, and your plan and implementation has to be evaluated by the students also in terms of the feedbacks. So feedbacks by the student is must. It is a positive attribute through which we come to know that where we have erred, where we are going wrong, in what way we are not able to communicate to the students. These feedbacks has to be evaluated also. So evaluation is both way, of the students, by the students. And once you evaluate both the students and the faculty, then it should be reflected in improving the instructional skills. Then only the teaching process is complete. So it's a closed loop if you see it. You have to plan your lecture. I will not put so many times in this one. Already I have elaborated. Methods of teaching. There are 2 things you can say. One is the learner center, another is the teacher center. Initially, we were teacher centered. Now it should be the learner center. Learner center, the lecture, what you plan, discussion on the lectures. You have to organize seminars, symposium. You can organize panel discussions, group discussions. Right now, we are going for the virtual teaching mode. You can adopt that also. Tutorials should be planned. You can give projects in each and every subject to do it. Workshops you can organize, e-learning, or you can take the students to the field also to demonstrate what is actually happening in the real life. So in nut and shell, the method of teaching should be significant to meet the requirements of learners at all levels. Then only we will be successful. I took this picture from somewhere. In fact, Dr. Rao took for me. Connecting your teaching to learning. This small kid say, if I cannot learn the way you teach, will you teach me the way I can learn? So this is the question the students asked to us. Either we call modern pedagogy or we call old pedagogy or whatever you call it. unless until we can change our ways to teach in such a manner that students are able to learn, then only we are successful. Then we can call a pedagogy is successful or like that. Otherwise, it's a routine exercise, going in the class, delivering some things, coming back, irrespective whether the students understand or not. So please make a note of this slide. That again I repeat, if I cannot learn the way you teach as a student, I'm asking, will you teach me the way I can learn? That we have to understand. The 3 jobs of teaching, again, we try to put in terms of gears that they are interrelated. Leadership, instructional, organizational, that are all linked together. Challenges for 21st century teachers. For us, those who are teaching, society is multicultural. We have to have the construction of knowledge, active learning. We have to be learner also. Teacher has to be learner also. The best teacher is the one who is lifelong learner. And believe me, every day, every morning, I go to teach and read some next new textbook. I find that I do not know this thing. I have to know this thing also. You have to make use of the technology. You have to understand the psychology of the students. You have to develop the skills of the students. And of course, standard-based environment. And moreover, we have to be accountable. That whatever we are doing, we must ask the questions to ourselves, evaluate ourselves, then only you can get this answer that whether you have made yourself accountable or not. Managing the students, don't throw the blame on the students for your failure to create an impact with your lecture. Students are immature, less skilled, more emotional, whereas you are skilled and composed. Best way to control the classroom as community of practice. I'm just summing up. I think that I don't know how much time I have left. It is already 5:04. So in 10 minutes, I will do it.
You may carry on.
Okay, please. Because some noise was coming, so I thought that I have to stop myself.
No, that revision by mistake from her.
Okay. No. So cooperative learning based on cooperation in a productive process. Inquiry-based learning. That's a trial and error method involving group work. Natural method based on an inductive global approach. And more so, however, it should be based on interest of the students and curiosity of the students. Classroom management, if you talk about, a direct function of teaching style can be given these 5 attributes. Group alerting, wittiness, this is more important for the teachers. Overlapping, when I say overlapping, means whatever I have taught previous day, we have to start summarizing and then moving ahead, so that there is a connect, there is no disconnect in the lectures. Least intervention and fragmentation. Stages of teacher development, if you see, the first when we join teaching profession is the survival, whether we can survive as a good teacher or not. So in initial phases, if we survive, there are certain hiccups, and that happens in each one's career. Then we try to consolidate ourselves. After 3-4 years, we lead to this consolidation phase, that whatever we have taught, how we have moved in those 3-4 years, we try to consolidate. Then after consolidating, again it comes to the renewal. If you are not renewing yourself, reinventing yourself, then you are gone. You have to revisit yourself again after survival phase is over, that you are a teacher now, it's sure, taken for granted, and you have consolidated your position as a teacher in the subject, as an authority in the subject, but you have to re-look yourself. And then finally, if you renew yourself, then goes for the maturity phase, that you are matured enough to teach that particular subject. Transforming pedagogy, changing perspectives from teacher-centered to learner-centered. This is what I talked about in previous slides. That now the pedagogy is from teachers. In earlier days, it was teacher-centered. No, it has to be learner-centered. We have to keep in center the learner as a focus. And whether they are learning or not, whether we are able to translate the knowledge, that we have to think upon. So this happens if you determine what extent the field experience at transforming their teacher, that they are teaching, how do we promote self-assessment in our students, so on. So particularly, you can go through the experience through e-learning in teacher education also. This is now the new normals that all of us are going through this phase. We are teaching through platform. Students are having the e-learning. There are certain drawbacks and positive things also. So we have to go through this experience and try to refine it. In transformative pedagogy, which is the need of the hour, that empowers learners to engage in a dialogue to co-construct meaning from educational material and experiences through an inquiry-based approach. This is more important. Your approach should be, the student's approach should be inquiry-based. The factors which controls or which are an important tool in transforming pedagogy is the recognition and acceptance of new roles and responsibilities on the part of teachers and learners, comfort level of both, and more precisely the comfort level of learners, tolerance for ambiguity and flexibility. We have to be flexible enough, confidence in integrating technology, and integration of the new pedagogy with the larger realities beyond the classrooms. So most importantly, when we go to the beyond classroom, if I want to decipher it, that we must ask the question to ourselves, what are we teaching? Are we teaching beyond the textbook? If we are teaching the beyond textbook, then we are successful. If we are reaching beyond the classroom, that whatever has been taught in the classroom and in the students are trying to reflecting beyond that, then we are successful. Then only we can say that this is pedagogy is transformed. If you come to the modern pedagogy, the modern pedagogy must be based on collaborative learning, where the student, all the students can learn together. Experimental learning, these are the 6 major factors for modern pedagogy. Learning by doing, this is now need of the hour. That's what we can say, that all of us should have a doers lab. There should be an open lab where the students should go and do whatever he or she wishes to do it. He has to conceive the problem, and ultimately by doing certain analysis, by doing certain design, he has to then manufacture and all those things, and ultimately he has to translate that idea into reality. So this is learning by doing is the most important thing, where our pedagogical context is missing. This link is missing. Though we go for the experimental lab, but that is simply for the sake of telling them the theory which has been taught in the class, that this theory proves, the experiment proves, justifies the theory. But this would be beyond that. Context-based learning, connecting textbook theory with real-life example, that is very important. Each and every topic we have to correlate with the real life. That will inculcate interest in the students. Inquiry-based learning. Lessons could start with questions. We have to be forth enough in asking questions to the students, and we can encourage the students to ask so many questions to us. Research-oriented learning. And finally, the personalized learning, because one curriculum cannot work for all people. So through assignments, they are to be stressed a bit further to hone their computational skills or experimental skills. So if you say modern pedagogy is like the journey to the intended destination, if the path is not effective, the end result cannot be fruitful as well. So we have to make our path very effective by going through collaborative learning, experimental learning, context-based learning, inquiry-based learning, research-oriented learning, personalized learning. This is, I gave some example pics I took from somewhere. Learning by doing. You do it, whatever you want. And I have seen in some universities in states that the students were encouraged to make prototypes. So we have to give them this freedom. And again, I'm emphasizing that in new educational policy, we have to create this place that doors lab or open lab something concept, that whatever you have studied in 3 years or 2 years, you go and try to transform into reality in the lab. If you go for the inquiry-based learning, we try to discover it, inquire. If you go each and every terms, investigate your surroundings, narrow your focus for that subject, ask comparative questions, uncover your prediction, initiate an action plan. R stands for research and data collections. And finally, examine result and communicate finding. This is the inquiry-based learning. Early education, normally this should be for the early, this is for the early childhood education. It should be multifaceted, which should focus on these areas. Communication is the major tool. That's why in NEP, we are going for the local languages also. So now this is the need of the hour, that even in NITs or some other institutions where they are situated, at least for a group of students, we can teach them in their own language. You see all the developed countries, example of the developed countries, they teach in their own language. Because it is said that if you teach in other languages, the grasping power of the student is reduced by 30 to 40%. So we have to be communicative. So language should not be a barrier in communication. Language and literacy, creative expression, we should inculcate the creativity in the students, physical development, mathematics, all those things, personal, social, and emotional development. This is more important for the development of a student or a child, and then only they can have the understanding the world. This NEP 2020 also calls for inculcating these aspects at an early stage of childhood. UK has already adopted this thing. Innovative teaching strategies for modern pedagogy. Already I discussed this in different forms, but I can summarize: collaborative learning, brainstorming, exploration, visualization, educational technology applications, practical considerations of active learning, professional development, realistic educational planning, behavior management, inductive teaching, and finally the discussions and debates. I will leave it. The pedagogy has to address these aspects precisely for the higher education institutions. We have to expand research and build infrastructure while producing a strong and knowledgeable educated community. Because in NEP, you see that there are 3 categories of the institutes: research universities, where emphasis is equal for research and teaching. We are teaching universities where priority in teaching with significant focus on research. So you cannot become a good teacher unless until you are not a good researcher. People ask me this question: why should I teach, do research? Because I have mastery in this subject. Well enough. You can teach a particular subject in a nice way. But this technological field is a fast changing scenario. Every day we are finding some change. So unless until you keep yourself updated what is happening in true sense in real life, you cannot teach effectively. If you do research, then you are aware of the newer things, and at least you can tell the students that fine enough, these are the fundamentals, but whatever I am teaching, this is not the end of the day. Beyond this, this can be also addressed. So when we will go into the field, you may encounter these things. We can list out those things that will inculcate interest among the students. Autonomous degree granting college, UG education and research. So finally, this higher education institutions, they have to be multidisciplinary education. Present day pedagogy must revisit the role of vocational education. This is also very important, where we have to give some, do some skill development. That is called vocational education has to be there. And if you talk about nowadays, we are talking about the rank. I put this term rank saying. You see in world, most of our IITs, ISCs or other universities, they do not figure in top 200 international ranking. The reason is that top ranking universities are comprehensive in nature. They do teaching and research all in science, physical science and medicine, social science, natural science, engineering. In our country, none of the universities except few fulfill this. One example come to my mind is BHU. Now IIT BHU is taken away from BHU, so we cannot say in totality also. So there are certain institutions, universities, but none of them focus all these things where you can address all those things. Particularly IITs, IIMs, CNU, ISC, they are not of this type. Pedagogy in higher education, educational institutions must orient its effort for carrying high-end research towards Atmanirbhar Bharat. The research, we can say the pure research, we have to focus on pure research. We have to focus on applied research. We have to focus on translational research. Mostly in the field of biology, they are doing some translational research. And more importantly, solution to the industries. If we talk about the technology readiness level, which is called TRLs, so we don't go beyond level 4. We do research, and that research by its own depth up to level 4, where everything is done in the laboratory and finished. Very few research see the light of the day when it comes into the reality. Requirements are involvements of a student in research is mandatory. We have to inculcate this habit of the students even at undergraduate level, that do some innovative things. Again, I'm linking it to the open lab. Do something innovative. It may be silly, it doesn't matter. Patent searching before finalizing the research topics. Master research to be linked with industry and research institutions. Undergraduate project and vocational training have to be combined for skill development. And moreover, for the institution, for the faculty members, a strict monitoring system for all these in light but tight attitude. We have to make this thing light, but we have to be tight enough also. Then for modern pedagogy, these are the things that where you have to design course curriculum to realize multiple entry and exit, tap the research funding from National Research Foundation by making meaningful proposal, making curriculum to yield job provider, not job seeker, which I said in the beginning opening remark. Impart flexibility in curriculum for propagating multidisciplinary knowledge in the students. Curriculum to emphasize importance towards vocational education for skill development, and so on. So the roadmap which I have listed for modern pedagogy, through modern pedagogy for the development, is from research projects to technology projects, from making project reports to creating end products in the marketplace, from research for publication to publication from research. Actually, what we do research for publication. That chalo bhai, do scopus ho gaya, do SCI ho gaya, PhD mil gayi. And where here we are faltering. We are doing research for getting some publication. It should not be the case. That's why we are not getting the fruit. We have to get the publications from research. We have to focus that what we are going to do it. And the byproduct of doing this research should come in terms of the publications. I have seen many students, they are focusing on the publication. Chalo do publication ho gaya, PhD is granted. from networking and collaboration to co-creation, support companies to create new components, rewarding the performers on quarterly basis, inculcate scientific temper in school-going children, and finally, it should be from individual-centric to team-centric. Research or education is a teamwork. I call upon all of you to rediscover yourself. We do not know ourselves even. To know yourself better, please rediscover yourself. And this is the mantra for every faculty member. Whosoever is in teaching profession, he or she has to rediscover yourself. I will end with this sloka, that what is our role, that amantram aksharam nasti nasti asad mulkam ayogya purso nast yoja kasrat durlabha. टीचर के लिए है कि कोई भी अक्षर मंत्र विहीन नहीं होता, कोई भी कंदमूल फल औसत विहीन नहीं होता, कोई भी मनुष्य अयोग्य नहीं होता. Then where is the problem? योजक कसरत दुर्लभा, उसको उसके लायक लगाने वाले कार्य लोग दुर्लभ होते हैं. तो माय डियर फ्रेंड्स, स्टूडेंट्स में कमी नहीं होती है, कमी हमारे अंदर है कि हम उनको इंटरेस्ट क्रिएट नहीं कर पाते हैं. So I call upon all of you, whatsoever you do it, whether you talk modern pedagogy or you call old pedagogy, the most important thing is that as a teacher, as an instructor, we have to find that what is required for a particular students. In a class of 100, different students have different understanding level. So as a teacher, we have to find what is her level so that we can reach to that particular students. The day you will reach to each and every student, you will be successful. With these notes, once again, I thank Professor Gobil for giving me this opportunity to interact with some finest brain of the country. I hope that whatever I have tried to prepare with the help of Dr. Jha and Dr. Rao, I have been able to communicate to you. At the end, I once again thank you, Professor Gobil, for giving me this opportunity. And I take this opportunity to place my sincere acknowledgement to my colleague, Dr. Jha and Dr. Rao, for helping me in preparing this lecture. Thank you. Now I am open for any question, please.
So participants, if you have any question, you can write it in the chat box, or you can unmute yourself and you can ask the question. There are a lot of comments actually, very informative. A lot of comments,
Appreciation.
a lot of appreciative comments. There is one question, I believe, respected Professor Shukla Sarji, your session and presentation is excellent, very valuable and very informative. If you have any question, you can unmute yourself and ask the question. I think there is a question over to director, sir, in the director's office.
Okay, Shuklaji, it was really nice presentation, and I am also thankful for helping. Director को help की जरूरत पड़ती है ना, बिना director help के कैसे काम करेगा? Hello.
Yes, please go ahead.
So thank you, है ना, फिर मिलते हैं.
ठीक है, तो 16 को दिल्ली में मिलते हैं.
नहीं, I'll call you on phone. We'll discuss.
Okay, thank you. So, there was a question, I think, in chat box, that how to practice student-centric approach in large classrooms. That's very good question. That if you have a classroom of 80, you cannot reach. That's why the tutorial classes are meant for smaller groups where you can reach to each and every student. How can you do it? If you don't have tutorial classes, then you can give assignments. and try to give the assignments, not a common assignment to all the students. As a teacher, we have to exert a lot. Please make different questions for the different assignments, and some questions you make open-ended problems, and then you evaluate the assignment of the students and discuss each and every student in your leisure time. You can call the students to your classroom and you can discuss with them that what is your problem once you evaluate the assignments. I understand that in class of 80 or 100 it's very difficult to manage, but we have to have the smaller classes. But more importantly, we can be student centric by way of assignments. I think I tried to answer your question. Any other question, if it is there in chat box, I will love to.
The awareness must be there in every academician, I think.
Yes. That should be there. Awareness should be there in every academician. What is our role?
Yes,
Because every academician is a role model. We are here to inculcate the habit of study and research in the students. And as I told you in the beginning, that if you are able to create interest among the students of your subject, you have won the race. 50% of your job is simplified. Rest of the things they will do themselves.
that's a daunting task nowadays, right?
Yes. Okay.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your expert view on diverse factor of teaching learning methodologies. I hope participants have gained knowledge and techniques from your talk and will carry forward it to enhance their teaching learning skill in classroom teaching. Thank you, sir, for being with us and spending your valuable time. We look forward more session from you, sir, in near future, and also your physical presence at our campus when the pandemic will be over. Thank you.
Thank you for the invitation. I will love to come there. Okay, no problem. Okay, thank you. Okay, fine.
So participants, we are going to put a feedback link in the chat box. So kindly, the link will be opened for next 15 minutes. So you are supposed to fill that. We are putting it in the chat box, and we are also putting it in the on the YouTube channel.
Sir, again it's not working, sir. It's not accepting the responses.
It's not working, sir.
Now it's working. Please click again.
Yes, sir. It's working now.
The feedback link is not working.
It's working. Please try again. It's working now.